like a little bit up here so I could just have the cat.
Here's a message of importance to
No, just
millions
so
of
like
people
it'll
who are
sit on side
continually
to side
pale and
because you
washed
gotta fold
out,
over
weak and run
30.
down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron.
No, see, like you're off the edge.
The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement. We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more. So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, we are awake. If you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking today.
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, and a TGIF to you all.
It's Friday, my dudes.
And you can be sure it is Friday, my dudes. And it feels like it has been a hot minute since we've had the chance to speak with you all on a Friday afternoon. Be it for one reason or another. But I am sure glad to be back and sure glad to get a chance to hang out with you guys tonight. We have got absolutely nothing planned other than hanging out with our buddy David M. So we'll probably end up opening the phone lines, taking some guests, taking some maybe conversation topics from the chat. Maybe we'll just include the chat, throw the chat up on the screen. We'll figure something out. Let's jump right in and say hello to the fellas, since Cami will not be joining us this evening as she's just feeling a touch under the weather. But I know that she's here in spirit and there in the chat. Hi, Cami. Much love. Rest up. Feel better. We love you. And hopefully you'll be able to join us next week or next time we go live, whenever that is. Anyway, let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. You might know him from his channel here on YouTube. Good Times for All. GUDTIMS, the number 4ALL. Zach, how the hell are you?
Hey, Josh. Hello, everybody. Yeah, doing good, doing well. Week is over. Got some stuff done. Got a new microwave to take apart and play with today. So I'm kind of excited about that. Get my first magnetron in my hands, and I'll promise I'll do my best not to kill myself, because they get dangerous, but I'm not even going to hook any electricity up to it for a while. That'll be research. I want a magnetron, you know?
Hey, I get it. After the last 2 or 3 years, some days, that's just the absolute best I can promise to other people as well. You know, I promise to try not to kill myself. Yeah, no, that's a good thing. It's dangerous though. Yeah, I've heard of some pretty horrible accidents happening. I know it's some dangerous stuff.
Most deaths while trying to make a YouTube video is using a magnetron, trying to burn like the tree pattern, the lightning pattern into wood. I guess multiple people have died trying to recreate that video, playing with a magnetron, because it does amplify the power up that strong to where it's very, very dangerous. You know, the electricity is already dangerous coming through your outlet. That'll kill you. But this is like instant death for sure, guaranteed. Don't touch it, I guess it's real easy to make a mistake with this thing. So I'll be super careful. There's little tricks of the trade you can do with just little LED lights attaching it to certain parts of it. So if there is power running to it, that light will always be going on, so you know when it's hot and when it's not. So yeah, I'll be super careful, super duper careful playing with it. But yeah, I got a magnetron now. I just gotta go digging in there and find it.
So this was a story that I just relayed yesterday to my boss as he was driving me home because we got behind one of those big bucket trucks from the electric company. And I told him about this time that they were widening the road on the road where I lived. They're adding that center turn lane, so they had to push back all of the electric poles further into people's yards so they could put the sidewalk and the turn lane and the wider road and all that good stuff. Well, as the electric company was there, I guess maybe putting in the new ones, attaching the new ones after they'd moved them back. I'm not exactly sure as to what the details were, but the way I understand it is that he may have forgotten to put on his gloves or something. But the electrician up there in the bucket touched the live wire and basically blew him out of the bucket and onto my front yard. And he was died probably instantly, but his body was so hot when it landed in the yard that it killed the grass in the shape of his dead body.
Ow.
Right there in my yard. So I still had the telephone pole, so his family would come and put flowers and shit on our telephone pole in our front yard. And for weeks, there was the brown dead grass outline silhouette of that electrician's body. It's crazy. It is definitely requires some respect.
A lot. That's why I told everybody, I started off with a hand crank Van de Graaff generator for a reason. It was, the weakest one I could find that, I can take the strongest shock and it's not going to kill me. Even with its strongest shock. It woke me up real good. Yeah, I got it on
Was that
video.
your current house or the one you moved from? The old house? Josh.
It was one that I had my old house. Okay. This was about 15 years ago. So
okay, because man, damn dude, I'd have to move after that. Good God.
It was definitely a thing. Let's say hello to you, sir, Mr. Walter Johnson. You might know him from his little channel here on YouTube's Flat Earth Head. How you doing, Walt?
Good.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
It's been a while. It seems like, and missed you guys for sure. Apparently, I need coffee. I didn't make anything, and I had woken up fine, but yeah, I'm getting a little sleepy, so I may slip away here in a minute. Coffee needed. But yeah, I have some tea with caffeine. It doesn't really count. I thought that would be better with what I was eating for breakfast. So, a lot of guitar time. Still working on my pickup adjustments, trying to get the height right. Factory settings aren't quite it, and it's just hard to find that sweet spot that gives me the tone. It doesn't kill the string vibration. So, playing with really stronger pickups. Yeah, it's different. What else? What else has been happening? A lot of sleepiness. Lately, I've been baking and cooking. Yeah, magical butter machine. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, the infuser is working good, is it?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it makes for a little sleepier life.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
A couple more naps in the week than I usually take. So, but it definitely the tincture, idea is the best part of it. Because from what I've read, and I may have read it all wrong, but the magical butter machine is the only one that will let you do tinctures in it with the alcohol. Because the others highly advised.
Well, I think it's the amount of it because it's so highly flammable.
Well, that's
so
what
if
I
you
say.
do
The
it,
others, the way they're made, the way they're designed, they're not safe to use it. So this one, the way they've got it set up,
you could do it indoor.
You can do it. So yeah. So
I mean,
far, I
just
haven't
to tell you
blown
though,
up yet.
you should do it outside regardless. You should
Oh
do it
yeah, I
under
definitely
good airflow,
had
regardless
the
of what anything says.
I definitely
How
had
safe
the
it is.
doors, windows open because I know when I do the homemade wax, that I did years ago after my wreck, so I could have some pain relief. It was, yeah, you definitely wanted airflow for the alcohol. It will mess you up. It'll kill you, but it will definitely mess you up just having it in the house.
It won't just kill you. It'll kill you, then it'll mess you up.
That too.
But the disembodied voice that we were hearing was David M., our good buddy. You might have seen him floating around a few various other handles. Atum, A-T-U-M, was one that was used not too long ago, I believe. What's going on, David? How you doing? I wanted to wait until you got a nice big mouthful.
I know. I was going to say you waited.
Yeah, as soon as I just put a lot of it.
I see David. You don't see David?
I just put him up there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't understand your disembodied voice comment.
Because he wasn't up there when he started talking.
I'm just over here chilling.
I'm trying to give you as much time as I can.
I was just trying to be patient. I wanted to comment on the magic butter because I think it's a really good, easy thing for people to use at home for like people like you. Like you don't need some crazy production. You just need to do some small amounts of stuff.
I don't need a lab, right? Exactly.
Right, and I think it's an amazing
to have a little fun with because
it's a little expensive for the pricing on it. I mean, I don't think
I
it's
would
that
have
cheap.
done it if it wasn't between stacking like Black Friday discounts and like get this app and we'll give you an extra 10% off.
Oh yeah.
Except, I did all the stupid shit you do, and dude, I wound up getting it for less than half the price for it and their little decarb unit, which was really the secret to me because it monitors your temperature, it lets you calibrate your oven, so you're not exceeding those temperatures with the decarb, and you're hitting the perfect internal temperature in that little box they send. And while it does still have a slight odor,
quiet,
it's
Walt.
nothing
Is
like the odor of having a
mic
big
away?
pan. Oh,
Sorry.
I leaned up too far. Hello, is that better?
Now you sound perfect. Yeah, you sound perfect.
There we
go.
You could probably go even up just a touch if you had
probably
to.
moved. Earlier, the cat had like moved the whole arm away and stuff. Is that now much better?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn it up. Josh is doing that.
Hey, look, you do you.
No,
I actually
want
have
you
one
to hear me. I don't know. The cat moves stuff, and I've had to readjust. So
I actually have one of those as well. I really don't use it ever, and usually when I do stuff, it's a little bigger production. So it's too small. It takes forever for me to do the stuff that I'm trying to do sometimes, But it's a great thing. It's a great machine. I think it's definitely worth the
if you
purchase.
play around and stack those little discounts and coupons and stuff that are happening right now, you can get an amazing deal. That's the only reason I did it. I surely wouldn't have paid their full price because it is hefty. But yeah, thank you, Sherry. Sherry dropped the link for you guys. And look, I'm not even getting paid, so Sherry might be though. I don't know. That's a pretty
promo code.
Pretty detailed, right? That's a pretty detailed description she dropped.
Walt's like, I'm not getting paid. Flat Earth Head 20.
Look, Flat Earth Head 20. Flat Earth Head 420. I mean, what? No.
What?
Jaron would love something like that. It's a.
Writing the cap in the chat.
Sorry, I'm talking to Cami. I didn't know I was unmuted.
I was like, yeah, he probably would.
You should. We need to look into one of those. It's a butter machine.
I'll send y'all some link. Let me get my coupon code set up, and I'll send y'all a link.
Yeah. My affiliate code. Hold on.
Right.
Infuses herb into butter, oils, tinctures, all in the kitchen.
Magic butter. If you're listening right now, I don't know where my magic butter's at. You could just send me another one.
Right. Look, Facebook's 777 at email.
Yeah, get at me.
Butter maker. I just take it and squirt that shit right in my mouth. I don't be wasting your time making it into butter to use it to cook something else with. God, what a bunch of fucking waste of time.
No, I think you can make a lot of other different type of tinctures with it as well. Like it doesn't all have to be.
You can do quite a few. Like I said, after I did my research, it was the trickiest one. It had the most variety of things that you could do with it. Now, a couple of them you can cook inside it and make your brownies in it. And, you can't clean it right. You can't do anything. Like, yeah, I'm good.
It's like drinking games. Never understood the point of a drinking game. I just never could get it. I went to a Friendsgiving last weekend, actually. Walked in the door, and they had a beer pong table set up, and I almost turned around and walked right the fuck back out. What the fuck? Beer pong. 45 years old.
I've seen one of those since Valparaiso University. It's been a long time since I've seen a beer pong table.
I think I might have bounced a ball or two. Never played a full game.
No, I don't think so either.
I was too serious.
Walking by, like, here, I'll take a shot.
Yeah, I was serious about my drinking. I didn't want to fuck around with games. Sure as shit, I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to want to drink, and it's not going to be my turn. I won't have got the bad card or whatever the fuck drinking game it is where it says not my turn to drink. I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? I got to wait to drink? If I don't have to wait to drink, then what's the fucking point of the game?
Drink. You mean I can't play this game with tequila?
I put the shit on mute.
No. You didn't.
No, I was going to put it on mute because I was going to say something to somebody else. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, when I was at that age, I didn't like beer. I didn't like beer until I got older.
You mentioned squirting it in your mouth versus making it into butter. Yeah, I'm not like using RSO in this process. Yeah. I can make RSO with this thing, actually.
Disinterested. I mean, you could squirt it in there, pour it in there, light it up, smoke it in there. I don't give a fuck.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Get it in there.
Yeah, my son was talking about people that were using their addiction to cannabis as a way to just justify using. It's my medicine, so I'm just gonna have to, I use it for whatever I want. That's why I have, my morning blunts and my afternoon blunts and my backwoods for when I need to go home and get to sleep.
It's kind of, but it's kind of right, but at the same time, any use of it is medicating and helping your body return to homeostasis. That's the most important part of anything that you could be smoking.
Yeah. Well, it's like I told him that, they rectally is the most efficient way of absorbing medicine if you want to take the medicine for the medicinal effect.
Not if you want the head effect. You use it anally and you don't get the head effect, because I had to administer it to my mom while she was having her, when she was passing.
I know John Savage was a big proponent of making little, whatchamacallit.
Yeah, suppository.
Suppository,
thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
That's what THC Anthony, when he had his...
And where are all your parasites at? They're in your digestive tract. They're in your gut.
The health benefits of putting that stuff in me.
And that's like your weight system.
I'll take it. Thank you.
A lot of people that have... there are like studies out right now, like people that are like diagnosed Alzheimer's. What's happening is all the bad bacteria in their waste system, and that's why those people take it rectally to kill those parasites. Literally, they say THC kills cancer. So, just put two and two together, you could figure it out.
Yeah, I know. Your belly button is another good place where it stops it up. It's insane. It's like pouring it into a funnel almost, You can put it topically on your skin, and then usually I'll put a lot more. When I administer it to someone's belly button, I'll put in at least, 4 grains of rice, to where topically on a spot, you usually don't even have to put a whole grain. But when I go to pull it off, sometimes, a lot of times, if the skin is absorbing it good and it's having a good reaction, there will be no residue left underneath the bandage. But sometimes there will be. If, the skin just isn't taking it in, if maybe it doesn't need it in that spot, there'll still be a little residue left. But in the belly button, it's like always gone. You can always put in more and it'll still absorb it. It just takes it up. It's crazy. And I've seen amazing results, like life-changing, life-altering results.
Because the skin's the biggest organ on your body. So,
Yeah.
But that's definitely a good point for absorption. Even like your belly area, there's a lot of areas like where your skin is thinner. So like you could apply it, like especially like in your stomach lining area, like it's a lot thinner right there. So it's easier
under your arm, like
under your armpits. Yeah.
There's a lot of thin spots for sure. That's why when you take RSO, you put it under your tongue and just kind of let it sit there and absorb up into your skin that way, or into your tongue. What is your tongue?
Sublingually.
Skin, right? Your tongue doesn't have skin. It's just I don't know, a muscle, but it has skin.
It is a muscle. It's the strongest muscle in your body, the tongue. But it also, obviously we have all these sensors on it, and it's a really high tech device in my opinion. Like, I think once you put something under your tongue and you take it that way, your body instantly knows it's going to get that. And like, I'm just saying from experience of like, if you put, a lot of people talk about turpentine for fighting parasites. Once that touches your tongue like that, they instantly know it's in your system, and they instantly start freaking out and moving around and trying to go to other places and hide. So I always found that really interesting, that how you take medicine that way. And they say like if you're injured, like if you got some poison, your urine would be the antidote, and you would take that urine, put it on your tongue, whatever, after, and that was what would heal you from some of these poisons.
Yeah, no, I do remember having heard that.
Antidote.
Like, getting a bee sting or something like that, and getting that poison and putting the poison actually in your mouth and under your tongue, and letting your body register that and say, okay, well, here's how I fight that. And then this was back in the days of the distilled waters, living waters stuff. And then that which comes out, having been inoculated by the body because it's already registered under your tongue, then you take that urine and ingest the urine, because it's going to have all those properties already made for it.
Yeah, it's going to know. Your body's going to produce the anti-venom or whatever the body needs or whatever, and it's going to be in your urine. They've done, we had some lab analysis tests before about what's in urine, and you'd be surprised. Everything's in urine: gold, silver, uranium, like every element of periodical table seems like is in urine, and DMT, everything. So I've heard people talk about that they had aged urine and they took drops of it and put it on their tongues. Like, I'm talking after like 10 years, like some crazy, like I don't know, I'm just making a number up, but it's like some long period of time, and just that one drop put them under some crazy like DMT trip that was like so crazy that, and it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, they aged it,
That's wild.
But you have like the colloidal silvers, the colloidal golds in your urine, all that stuff.
I always wonder what they do with all that stuff. Like a sewage treatment plant. What do they do with all the stuff they pull out of the water before they put it back into?
They're separating gold from the body, I'm pretty sure, especially from the solid waste.
I mean,
I think that's the reason that they feed you so much, because they want you to constantly produce waste.
I've never been
supersize you and all that stuff.
Even like before 9/11, waste management, everything has always been like super blocked off. At least in every place I've been, there's always been, the fence with the barbed wire facing the outwards to keep you out of waste management stations. Never did a field trip to a waste management place. We went to, library, police station, city hall. Never did the dump, but it was right downtown. We would walk past it all the time on our field trips, but we never went to the waste management plant. I was always wondering as a child, what are they doing in there? It's an interesting looking building too.
They're trying. They basically, I've been in some of them before, and basically what they're doing is like they're trying to filter all the waste like nature does, like some natural techniques, like whether they're using charcoal or whatever. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's whatever processes they use. And anyways, and they separate the solid waste from whatever else, and then they bleach it and they add the chlorine, the fluoride, and all the other stuff, and that goes right back into your water supply. Recycled fucking feces and whatever. They try to get rid of as much of it as they can, and obviously they bleach the water supply and they put hella chlorine in it, and all other types of different poisons that you need to filter your water. Even if you make distilled water, I don't think distilling water removes fluoride. So I think that if you do make distilled water, you need to filter with a KDF filter because of chloramines and all this other nasty stuff that they actually put into the water supply.
Yeah, it's
Heavy
crazy
metals too.
Going from one area to another, and where it's a different type of city water. There definitely isn't like a protocol to like you have to have this much of this and this. No, it's like different everywhere. I've had some water that tasted like straight chemical waste, it seemed.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I put it in my mouth, I spit it back out instantly. I don't even know what I was doing. I was going to take some kind of pill, which I don't do anyway. So it was probably after my surgery. I was probably taking a pain pill so I could go to sleep, and I just drank some water. It was from Wanata, Indiana, their city water. And oh my God, it was horrible. I spit it out instantly. I was like, Mom, how do you drink this stuff? She's like, oh, I don't even taste it. Oh my goodness.
There is actually a group, and I remember this from 20 years ago, nothing recently, but there was a group that lobbies all freshwater supply water anywhere around the world. They lobby them to add fluoride to their water supply, and it's something crazy. Like 90% of all freshwater supply in the world is fluoridated.
So messed up. And this all started in Russian gulags to keep people docile.
Docile, yeah, dumbed down and docile, just dumb, just obeying.
And they say they're putting even more parts per million now than they did back then.
Ever, yeah. The concentration's like 20 times. It's something crazy. Like it's definitely, sorry, I'm looking at Amazon going by right now. They got their cameras. Have you ever noticed like those Amazon trucks, they got cameras on all sides?
Really?
Yeah, I wonder if they're like collecting data just like Google Maps kind of like type of cars, because they have a camera like for their back door probably. They probably have the other camera for like the side door, and they probably have the ones supposedly for the front for like collision or like whatever like driver mishaps that could happen. So they have like the video log of it for their insurance, because they probably have some big crazy bulk insurance, But anyhow, my point is I just wonder what they're doing with all that data. Like, where is that getting recorded? What do they do with it at the end of the night? You have all these trucks going around the city everywhere. Are they like constantly using those cameras to spy on people?
Yeah, I wonder how much. I mean, they've been collecting data forever, for a long time, since before I was born. So there's people that have lived their whole lives that probably had as much of their life surveilled as possible, recorded, tracked, this and that. And the data was never, ever used for any purpose whatsoever. I mean, what's the point?
I don't know,
you track the person through their whole life, and they never became a terrorist, never did this, never did that. Is it just a what if that they're doing, or is there something more sinister to all of it? Do you think that there's social?
I think there's way more to it. That information is so valuable. And that's basically like what our phones are doing at this point, like they've just upgraded the technology to the masses so they could collect more data from you,
And this is sort of the weird matrix aspect of it. Right, you take all this information and now you start creating avatars in this digital metaverse, and you can create an entire population that thinks and behaves and can have behavior that is predicted then. you could run simulations on all these little people and see what they do and how they react and how they behave, and you could take and use that information to manipulate the people real time in the real world. Unless this is a simulation and we're being used to collect data for somebody else that using to manipulate somebody else out of the
I
matrix.
think it's a little more sinister than that. I think that every cell has so much power, and we have trillions of cells. So definitely, there's some type of like transmission receiver thing going on, like where they're using us for battery energy or whatever you want to call it. Whether you think they're draining you directly or are they draining you by slaving you in a job. I mean, there's many ways you could see it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that gets into
Like what? Like, do you ever follow your dreams or stop and think, or are you busy stuck in that trance because you have to get to work at this time and you stayed up all night playing the fucking game? Now you gotta fucking be at work at whatever, and you're tired and you're not paying attention. Everyone's in a trance all day long. Majority of people are half asleep 90% of the day, and they think they're conscious and they have no idea what's going on right in front of them.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why,
they-
you know, it's hard to wake people up because they don't want to wake up.
slowly, I think as it gets crazier and crazier, and the fluoride the fluoride's not going to work forever. I mean, if you took what's going on now and just sent it back to 70 years, they go back to the 70s, it wouldn't fly. There'd be upheavals and this and that, and it would be different. If the government was doing, look what they did to Nixon and people are doing way worse now.
They
worse.
were doing stuff like that though. They were spraying on people. They've admitted all
Yeah,
this
but
stuff.
it wasn't
It
out
was
there in the
DDT.
public view. It wasn't, being told to everybody. Now that we have the internet and we can share information,
Right.
more
Yeah,
people
internet
watch
sharing.
Joe Rogan than watch the news. It's crazy, and I know I'm not saying Joe Rogan is the purveyor of truth or anything like that, but he does have a lot of interesting people on, and he does have conversations that the news isn't willing to have. And it's just, there's people people are starting to think differently.
All lies are based on truth anyways. That's what, like, majority of truth. So sometimes they are talking about interesting topics and even some of the same topics that we would discuss, but they just have a different perspective, and it's all about perspective. If 10 people were right now, we all witnessed something, we would all have a different version, even though we all saw the same thing.
Yeah.
And we could all be on the same page and we could all have the same philosophies and religions or whatever. It doesn't even matter. I'm just saying, for example, but we could all have those type of things and still have a different perspective no matter what.
Yeah.
We're projecting our inner thoughts and our inner, what's going on in the inside, into our exterior world. And once people realize that more, then they'll see that you can kind of control some of this. And some of this stuff happens for a reason, because everyone puts so much emotions into everything. And emotions is energy into motion, emotion, energy into motion. So if you're always reacting and you're easy to react, they're sucking energy out of you that way. If they're keeping you in fear, that's another emotion. They're benefiting from it somehow. No matter what the emotion is, in my opinion, draining you like a battery.
What do you think about beings that we can't see?
You mean like energies?
Well, yeah, or the voices that schizophrenics hear.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, the schizophrenic voices are inside. They're the parasites that live within you, and they're getting control of you. And that's those voices. That's my opinion on that matter. But there is definitely like other entities that are around you, different energies. People put off energy. People put off good energy and bad energy all the time. just like someone could walk into the room and change everyone's mood and not even say a word. I mean, they're putting that energy out, and everyone's being affected because you're a transmitter receiver. Everyone's like constantly receiving and transmitting these things, and it's affecting everyone around you everywhere you go. If you're in a bad mood and you're cussing everyone out, you're going to ruin a bunch of people's days, are you not?
Yeah.
So we're also putting those energies out too. So I think people connect to those energies and they think those energies are other things than they actually are, you know?
Yeah, there's a guy, Jerry Marzinski.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar. I've spoke with him before.
Yeah, but he says that stuff just blows. And then like the shadow people that are on, hallucinating on meth or have been awake for days and days and days start seeing them.
Yeah.
The one that really gets me, what is it called, Cami? Jean Bonnet syndrome or
Oh no, Charles Bonnet.
Charles Bonnet syndrome. It's
Yeah,
where these
I'm
people
familiar.
that don't know each other, live all over different parts of the earth, but they all see these little like gnomes. The little gnomes wearing the hats with the beards and just doing stuff.
The same stuff you see on DMTs.
Yeah,
But I mean, like
and
the thing about
they
DMT.
all have a degenerative eye disease, macular
Oh,
degenerative eye disease that's
and
taking
that's what
place
allows them to see. You're saying
into this other veil. They're
right,
filtering stuff out that our eyes don't filter out.
right.
They all have the same hallucination.
But yeah, they all have the same visions. It's just like the
And after we
schizophrenic.
talked about that on the show, I actually spoke to my friend who has macular degeneration and asked him about seeing these little people. And he almost started crying because he thought he was crazy and didn't even want to talk to his wife about it. And the fact that I told him that thousands of people see him, just I guess helped him feel like he wasn't as crazy as he thought he was.
Wow.
And that is
The comment I was going to make about the DMT was, all plants have DMT. I mean, pretty much all these different plants, not all of them, but most of these plants have DMT. So I'm sure if like you're consuming certain types of things, it's definitely affecting you on that kind of level as well. I'm not saying that that's the link to it, but it's just interesting that the people that go on DMT trips see the same stuff. Like all the people see the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The same type of dwarfs and whatever else going on.
Yeah, maybe the DMT kind of filters something out as well. I don't know. It's so interesting that people that have
Maybe
never
Stalin took the DMT.
Well, I mean, everyone's doing DMT. Your body's constantly making DMT, and that's like you get to the point where when your body stops making DMT, you're gonna die.
Yeah, doesn't it? Don't they say it saves its last dose for your death, and then releases a large amount, supposedly?
That's what they say. I mean, I don't have any evidence behind that, but I've heard that from mainstream and other sources for many years. Yes. And would I agree with that? Probably.
I mean, I could see the body releasing everything it can.
Yeah, absolutely. Before you go into rigor mortis, right?
Yeah. Try to get all those chemical reactions to take place before entropy.
Well, I think they're still happening, right? Like people are like still kind of like active in the brain sometimes when they pass away, like their brain's still going sometimes, or they have like the spasms and the whatever else.
Yeah, I talked to a mortician one time, and he said all kinds of crazy weird shit happens.
People just sit up and shit.
Yeah, moving, doing all kinds of weird stuff that you wouldn't think a dead body would do.
Well, but I mean, is that like just like I'm not gonna say muscle memory. I just say memory. Is that like just some memory like task that the body is always known to do? Like sit up at 6 a.m. and the body still does it because the body's still partially alive. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy to think. Yeah, I don't know. He said, and it happens more often than you would think. Like when it happens, if there's other people there, they freak out, the other people, but the morticians are like, yeah, another body moving around, doing whatever, making noises. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm sure all kinds of noises, but some of that's probably gases and other
Yeah,
stuff
all
happening,
kinds of,
chemical
yeah.
reactions happening because the body is not operating anymore, or by pumping, the kidney's not working or the liver's not working. You know.
Yeah, it's an amazing system that we get. It really is. It's very intricate. We still don't know what it all does. We've been saying since I was born that, what is that thing down there? Your appendix. Oh, that's nothing. We just take it out. Now they're finding out it's like a microprocessor for your stomach that controls
Yeah,
all the enzymes and all these different
yeah,
things. That's
to
super
break things
important.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, super important. Yeah, gut health is a huge problem. A lot of people are definitely. I don't know if we talk about this before, that maybe it's a topic we could talk about. It was about their DNA barcoding foods now, after they've already like passed, like say like it was FDA approved organic, whatever. After they get an organic certification, they're spraying this food and stuff like that with this chemical to barcode it. So eventually they would know all the foods that you've been eating just by your stool.
Wow.
And this is something that's already going on. Like, it's been going on for years already. I'm not like, maybe longer than that, but from what I'm aware of, for the past couple of years, they've been talking
Yeah, I've
about
heard of
this.
the nano barcodes that are smaller than a human cell.
Right. But the interesting thing about all that, what I found really interesting too, is uh, I think that they could control your cells in a certain type of way. So like you could basically become addicted to these foods or these products that you're ingesting. Like say if you like, I'm not gonna say any company names, but just say you like vanilla cookies or whatever, and so makes them, and you're eating them all the time. Basically, your body would then start requiring that you need these cookies because it's changing your DNA with this barcode. So something that you didn't think you needed before, you would just, your body would think it's a requirement, so you would just constantly keep consuming it.
And it's crazy because I'm sure they tell us, I'm sure it's in that for more information, call this number or go to this
Oh, it's out there.
website. It's out there. Yeah,
It's out there.
guaranteed.
Everything I'm talking about is out there too. I know one guy that talked about it, Ice Age Farmer. Anyone could look him up. He did something about the DNA barcodes, and that's how I came across him in the first place. But I had already knew a lot of the information that he was talking about, except for some of the other things about it altering your DNA. And I would guess that the DNA is programmable in general, so I guess it's constantly being altered, regardless, just even by frequency. So I'm not really sure how crazy that truly is, except for you being addicted to a non-food type product.
Yeah. Here's some. I'm going to take a left turn here. Did you know that 600,000 people a year in the United States alone go missing?
Yes.
600,000. It's almost 2,000 people a day. That's insane.
Who made that statistic?
This is WVNSTV.com. Let's see who else. WorldPopulationReview.com also says 600,000. Statista gives like to the number 609,275 in 2018, 612,000 in 2017, 651,000 in 2016. So it's on a bunch of
No,
different.
the only reason I asked that is just because I'm just not a firm believer in populations and like population numbers that we get, and like, or how big this country really is or how small it really is. And I like, they say all these crazy numbers, and I just think, like, how is that possible? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like 1 million people were in these 5 blocks a day. Like, how they fit in those 5 blocks? It doesn't make any sense. Well, they were doing a parade. Like, what does that mean? Like, if there was like 5,000 people, it would be crowded as fuck. You know what I mean? How'd they get 1 million?
But let's say it is a real number. Why isn't this a thing?
People are distracted.
2,000 people a day go missing, and that's not newsworthy. And a lot of them, believe it or not, take place around national parks and things like that. Really large forested areas.
Yeah, but why do you think that? I mean, I've heard that many times, but why do you think so?
I think there's some sinister things going on out in those national forests. I think there's a reason they became national forests, and it wasn't for wildlife preservation. Whether it's they found something out there they don't want people seeing, or they have something out there that, facilities or this or
Don't
that.
Don't they call one of them like? Don't they say that it's the heart chakra, Zion or something like that, national park maybe?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what they say. I think they say that, like, that's the heart chakra of the earth chakra. And it's
I
a
know
power point.
a lot of national forests have the devils.
Walt should know this. Walt, do you know about this?
Zion's one of the prettiest I've ever been to.
Where is Zion National Park at?
Utah.
I know the
it's in
name, but
Utah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
Utah,
sure
I'm pretty
about
sure.
what you're saying there. No.
I thought that would kind of be like the UFO community would talk about kind of stuff like that, because a lot of times they say like alien abductions around those type of sites as well too, those like national parks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and there have been people who have written books about this, like the oddities of this, for a long time now. One of them, the more famous, is called Missing 411, and most of those have to do with national parks. And some of them are people that have gone missing and then are found, especially children, like 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-old children that are found, like, to have crossed 10, 12 miles of, dangerous wilderness up and over ravines and stuff like that in one night. They found them like way far away from the search area. Someone else found them, not even where they were searching, because they didn't think there was any way possible that they could have gotten that far.
It was David Paulides, I believe, Paulides, I think. He was the guy that was writing that book, The Missing 411 or something to that effect, about all those missing people disappearing in and around the national parks. I believe that's right.
Yeah, it's kind of wild when you start looking into it, all the and the strange stories and sightings. It kind of reminds you of old fairy tales. And what's with all these troll movies coming out now? This is the second one now that was like about real trolls. It wasn't a fantasy movie. I don't know. I mean, they've been in all of our nursery rhymes and fairy tales and stuff like that forever. I don't know. There's a lot to say about nursery rhymes, in my opinion. There's a lot of truth in between those lines. And this one, yeah, I watched that one movie. I won't say anything, Walter. La 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 la. But I watched that troll movie today with subtitles. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. But it was wild how, with all, I never mind. I'm not gonna say nothing. Blah 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 blah. La 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 la. I won't ruin it for Walter. I know I'm bad. I'll be good this time. But yeah, worth the watch. Troll Hunter, or just Troll, I think it's called. Maybe it's in Finnish. Maybe there's a little bit of English spoken, not much. So yeah, it's definitely a subtitle.
Can you pack the bong for me?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, that was on mute.
But
the
yeah,
answer is always yes, by the way, David.
It's just interesting how they're the fairy tales, it seems like they never go away.
Yeah, a lot of them are pretty interesting. There's a lot of allegory and a lot of them though too. I think as well to teach kids young. I think that kids absorb how they're gonna be in the first 6-7 years of their life. They're just like constantly, just analyzing everything, their parents' behavior, and they're just kind of mimicking that. I think. I don't think I know, and that's definitely why they want to get them out of the house even sooner, so they could affect that mind
hooks into them,
developing another way than the way they want it. They don't want an independent thinker type scenario.
Well, that's why I have empathy for all these horrible people. Because most likely, I mean, I'm sure there are people that are just born bad. Not saying there aren't these people out there, but most of these people have gone through things in their lives at very young ages, and the horrible, evil, wicked stuff that they do when they grow up, they think is normal. This is what they saw while those impressionable 8 years were going on in their life. And they saw, horrible, horrible acts being done to other people by their parents, even, or by another member of the community. And they think this is how it is. I mean, you go and look at the Hampstead all the stories are out there.
A lot of people are like trying to relive their trauma. That's why a lot of people don't know how to release the trauma. So people go through these traumatic things all the time, and they just don't know how to release it. And that's really one of the most important things. Even an injury, even just falling, that's trauma to you. Anything that hurts you is trauma, and you have to confront it and release it. And a lot of people, they're stuck in these patterns. Like they're just patterns. I mean, if you just study people, they're all patterns, and if you figure out the patterns, you see like there's a lot of it's trauma based, and even some of the stuff that you're watching like on television, these violent things that are happening to people, even though they're fictional characters, it's trauma on your mind.
Yeah,
and people don't know how to release it, so it becomes their reality, and people are mimicking the programming. A lot of times, I listen to people talking in groups, and I just think to myself, like, oh, you're just repeating what you heard from so-and-so, and he's repeating what he heard from so-and-so, and he's repeating what he heard from so-and-so. And then I start talking about something that they've never even thought about, and they're like, this guy's a kook. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you guys are just so like you pick a hero, and you like how he talks, and then you're just like, everything he says is true, and you just subscribe to everything, even if he's wrong. And people will fight you to the death. If I make a comment about one of their favorite truthers or one of their favorite whatever, people will be like, what's going on? You want to fight? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not even interested. I don't really give a fuck. I'm just giving an opinion, My opinion can change tomorrow as well, too. I might say, hey, today's guy's a piece of whatever. Tomorrow I might think he did something good for society,
Yeah, and that's the thing. And people do change.
Exactly. We change every single day. Every single day we can reinvent ourselves. Every single day we have a different feeling. It's never the same. I think a lot of people are searching to relive these glory days here and there, but you're never going to have the same experience twice, no matter what.
Yeah, it's like trying to catch that white dragon or white pony or whatever they call it.
Army.
What is it, Josh? When people do heroin and they get
chasing
high
the dragon. They're chasing the dragon.
Yeah. And they never get that feeling.
They could never get that high ever again. Same with heroin. It's all of them. I think you said heroin, but it's the same with like opium. Like your body builds an immunity to it. People that smoke crack, they might get whacked out their mind for a while, but eventually the body builds an immunity to it, so they can't get high from it. So then they have to go to other drugs to try to chase that high that they can never get ever again. It's an unnatural synthetic high, and the body knows it is poison and knows the body's being poisoned, so the body eventually becomes immune. The body builds the defenses, The body's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
We don't. Our thoughts help heal the body. Some of the things that we help help heal the body, but basically the body heals itself if you give the body the proper time to not be digesting all the time and actually pardon me, I was smoking a little something. Um, if you give your body time to repair itself, it will, and you'll be healed up better than you ever could be. The body's amazing, very resilient. We're lucky to have these technological whatever suits.
Yeah, the greatest quantum computing device ever created.
Ever. Yeah, I know you guys were talking about that earlier. And I was saying, and you agree with me that the brain is the quantum computer that they're talking about. They're trying to make an artificial version of that. That's what they keep talking about. They're trying to create is the artificial version of it. Like they're trying to counterfeit creation or what we are. So to make us feel like lesser or nothing, we got a robot that can do your job. You know, we got a robot that can replace you, you dumbass. Like he'll never make a mistake.
And that's the
But he'll
thing.
never be accountable either, you know?
No machine is ever going to learn like the human brain does. It's going to do what it's programmed to do. And that's it. And the speed at which it does it. Like I was saying earlier, the human eye, there's so many incredible calculations that it takes computers so long.
It's recording stuff, Zack, forwards and backwards, upside down, inverse, diagonal, caddy, whatever, every direction, analyzing it in real time.
In real time.
That is said, it was funny. My buddy texted me this morning after the show telling me you were crazy, Zack, that you didn't think computers were capable of doing all that. We had a little conversation about it. It was.
I think computers are capable of doing certain things, but people have been dumbed down so much they don't know their full potential. So they've never pushed themselves, so they don't know what they're capable of or what kind of computing they could do in their mind. I mean, everyone's different. Some people are more natural at numbers. Some people are more natural at speaking. You know what I mean? Like everyone has different whatever. But my point is I think there's a human that can compete against any computer in any scenario. But some of these like games that they're like, oh look, like the AI can beat like the best chess players in chess, right? You familiar with?
Oh yeah, yeah.
These games are beatable though. Like anyone could do it. You could do the same thing the computer's doing. It's the same with poker. It's the same with blackjack. All that stuff.
Yeah, we were talking after the show with Andrew about these famous magicians that can take this one guy was blind, could not see, but he could take a deck of cards out of the pack, freshly opened, shuffle it around, cut it, do all kinds of stuff, and know exactly where every card was. He could skip 4 cards on this side, and he would know. Like when he's going to shuffle,
is the guy he was talking about. Yeah,
it's not a perfect like split. You know, he'll go and shuffle it, and this one you'll see that okay, a couple cards went that time, so it's not just an even split. But he keeps all that stuff in his head. And then boom, 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 throws them all out, and he'll tell you exactly what every card is. Now, there's multiple people that can do this. So, yeah, the human brain is phenomenal. It's
if you train it right, too. It's a muscle.
Exactly.
You have to remember, it's a muscle. So you have to flex that muscle, and you have to constantly be training it to perform like that. And it also comes back down to your diet, like keeping the body clean enough so the body can make all the connections and communications. and you know, I mean, there's a little bit more to it than just that, but I think that's really important to have a clear mind. A lot of people's minds are clouded just by their diets and the medicines and all the other stuff that they're taking, so they can't even think straight. And that's really part of the problem. Like most people don't even know what they want, and they can't even think straight. So even if they could, they couldn't even figure it out. They couldn't manifest it. They couldn't make it happen. They couldn't make it a reality because they're just in a daze. It's a lot of people.
I was just going to say, I think so much of it is all these medications.
Oh, absolutely. But the foods are the medications as well. Like the sugars, that's the biggest drug there is. There's no bigger drug. Everyone in the world uses it. That's the biggest drug. And while you are using sugar, your brain cannot heal. So these people want to heal the brain and they want to unlock the pineal gland and do all these fucking things, but they're eating fucking Twix. They're hammering down sugar all day long and they don't read the ingredients for the stuff that they buy at the store. So they have no idea where they're getting all the sugar from because they stopped eating candy. Oh, but then they had a cake, you know, and it's like they're drug addicts. And when I tell people like, hey, sugar is the problem, people get really upset.
Yeah, I've always been a weirdo.
But I need some ice cream. You know, that's what they say they need. I don't need that. That's just garbage.
I was always the weird kid at the birthday parties that didn't eat cake or ice cream. It was never like a treat for me or anything like that.
Love you.
When I went to like the family would go to Dairy Queen, I'd get one of those Mr. Misties. You know, it was just like a slushy pretty much.
Right.
I was never into all the ice creams and cakes and sweets. Like my whole life, even as a child, I was never. I'd be like, no, I'll have an apple. Or I loved pineapple. If you had pineapple around, I was eating it. Like all of it until you took it away. But yeah, I was never a sweets person.
Yeah, it's. I was like I think too like definitely like into sugar in general, like definitely powered by sugar in many ways, even like unknowingly because there's so many hidden sugars in foods. There's so many different names for sugars. Even if you do know some of them, do you know all 30 of them? You know what I mean? They make it really fucking difficult for you to like figure this shit out. I mean, it's not easy, but I mean, there is apps and stuff out there that do like read barcodes and they know based on the product like what's in the ingredients. Basically, people go and independently break down what's in it and how much sugar's in it and why it's bad for you, or like how much added bad salts or like iodine salts and stuff like that are in it. But I mean, it's. I mean, it comes down to the point. Like, if it's in a package, you probably don't even want it at all. You really just want to eat natural food, but natural food is not always available for everyone. And then a lot of people's taste buds change because when you do eat those sugars, it fucks your taste buds up. I know when I stopped, I used to enjoy some sugar stuff here and there, but when I stopped eating all that stuff and I changed my diet and whatever else, when I tried sugar again, it tasted so bad to me that I couldn't eat it. I didn't want it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was trying to find like an alternate, like what's a healthy organic sweetener, like what else could I use? And then I just realized like I don't even need that. Once my taste buds came back, everything tastes so amazing. Delicious.
Yeah,
you get a delicious pineapple, you're like, this is like candy. What's going on? Like how did I miss pineapple all these years, you know?
Yeah, fruit is probably my favorite. I love fruit. I always have.
I mean, it's structured water. It powers the body. It has so many antimicrobial and antibacterial properties, and I mean, it just powers us in general. And like people don't get enough of it. They're not even interested in it. It's really interesting.
So, what do you think about poly being put into all the medications, try to find a pill that doesn't have poly something as one of the ingredients. And if it says poly, that means it's plastic from oil out of the ground. One of the 20.
Yeah, they're all oil-based medicines. That's why they're no good.
And these things aren't just in our medicines. They're in our clothes. They're in, everything. They use them to make everything. The cars around you, the toys around you, the controller in your hand.
Everything.
The bed sheets.
Yeah, and you're constantly, even when you're touching these things, like you're like, oh, I got this case on my phone. Like that's constantly going on to the biggest organ of your body, and your body is absorbing all the toxins, all the chemicals that they sprayed to make that thing like sterile before they shipped it, or like mold resistant, or whatever else that they put on it. I mean, and then you're just touching it. People are fucking doing all types of weird shit with their phone, putting it real close to their face, getting all comfy with it. I don't know. I mean, I got these things on my ears right now. I mean, like, who knows what that's doing, you know?
Yeah,
But
I try my best not to wear earphones. I will when I'm on Discord with the guys sometimes, just because it's easier to mute up and everything. I just flip a switch on the headset. But yeah, I try my best not to wear headsets as much as possible.
yeah, I do as
It's just
well.
uncomfortable. I got big
I
ears.
I do as well. I mean, I just is like, oh, they'll probably be able to hear me the best. I wouldn't want a lot of my background noise to. I already know there was a bunch of background noise, but like more excess background noise to be in the conversation.
So have you heard what's going on in Canada? I think I saw Ian in chat. I'm not sure if he's still there, but I hear have you ever heard of Awaken with JP? He's a
Sounds familiar.
comedian. He makes YouTube videos and it's all satire. He's always pretending like he's the mainstream media, but he's pretty much telling you what they say, but being real sarcastic with it and a bunch of little innuendos in between. I think that's how he gets away with it. But real funny guy. But up in Canada, they're really pushing assisted suicides as medical treatment. And the way he was talking about it, it was like, oh, you have a sprained ankle? Well, we could give you this, or we could help you along with an assisted suicide. Or just like little things like that. It's all over their news, like headlines and their major news publication articles. Canada's new thing for healthcare is assisted suicide. It's the newest trend. They're making it legal to where you can just go in and get assisted suicide.
Remember that was a big deal. Like Dr. Kevorkian, like it was a big old deal that he was doing that.
Yeah, and now they're saying, like for a hangnail or for depression.
Yeah.
If you're depressed, we'll help you with, well, we could give you these expensive pills that you'll have to pay for the rest of your life, or we could just help you kill yourself right now. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, and Ian says yes. This is what's going on up there. I was hoping it was like
Find the peace.
Yeah, but no, this is crazy. Like I said, they're not even trying to hide their evil anymore. The fluoride is working too well. If they want an uprising, they'd have to take the fluoride away.
I kind of feel like it's always been the same, though. I feel like there's always crazy stuff been going on forever. They want you to believe it. They want us to manifest it. They want us to tune into it and like multiply it by all the population and subscribe to it. And like we discuss these things, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like sometimes like I hear some of this stuff, I don't even want to discuss it because I just feel like I don't want to manifest that into some type of reality some way, you know?
Yeah.
And the other part of me is like, some of these people, they don't want to wake up. They never have.
I know. I feel sorry for them. It's so free and amazing to see the deceptions and not, I mean, because I guarantee there's a lot of people out there that do see them, but it's like they just go along with it. They know that their neighbor.
It doesn't affect them directly.
Yeah, they know the neighbor's beating on his wife. They hear it. They see the bruises and stuff like that, but they pretend like it doesn't happen. Stuff like that, but on a much larger scale. Yeah, it's wild how the human brain how people deal with some things. They just can put it, even though it's right in front of their faces, they can look through it and not have an emotional attachment to it. Almost like if the music isn't playing in the background and there's no spell being cast on them, it doesn't matter anymore. They're addicted to the spell.
Well, most people that have been programmed they basically become the programmer, and they just basically have that same traumatic experience, and they just basically repeat it upon everybody else instead of like dealing with the trauma and letting it go.
So Liz in chat said there was a story about a Paralympic. Let me see what she actually is here. She said athlete, but what I'm seeing in the story is a Paralympic Army veteran.
Veteran, yeah, is what I saw. Yeah. Trying to get a lift, a stair lift, like a chair lift for her stairs. And she'd been trying for months or years. Been a real good effort trying to get this thing repaired, I think. She even had one. It was just trying to get it fixed. And they just didn't want to help her and didn't want to help her. And finally, that was their solution, was if she's having such a hard time living her life, that they do offer services to help end it.
That's insane.
Isn't that absolutely insane?
Asking for help with a chairlift.
Mm-hmm.
Your life's got to just be horrible and suck. So we can end it for you if you want. I mean, that's crazy. Some of the happiest people I've ever met were, had some type of a disability. And they were some of the happiest people, oh my goodness.
I mean, happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy. You don't have to be miserable about anything.
Yeah, look at all these healthy people that have everything given to them. They don't have to worry about money. They don't have to worry about anything, but they're miserable. All these Hollywood celebrities that everything they tweet about is just negative and dismal, and the world's ending, and I don't see how you could. There's so many people so further worse off than they are. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an illusion. I mean, people either can see it or they don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't even like to tell anyone about it anymore. You either see it or you don't. I feel at this point, you're either gonna get there or you're not.
Yeah, it takes a different kind of person to go out there on the soapbox. That's not me. I mean, I give all props to people like Austin and Just Jack and Critical Inception and all these people that go out and do the, actors, and Tommy, that flat fellow, and the whole Kakalaki crew. They reach a lot of people going out there and do that. I mean, once I get out there and do it, I'm okay, but I never have an urge to go out there and do it. It's always kind of like I really don't want to do this type of thing, dragging my feet. It's not my thing, and that's okay. Not everybody, not anybody is gonna do everything.
You know what you don't see anymore these days?
What's that, Josh?
Sandwich boards. Like a good old-fashioned, just 2 pieces of plywood with a couple pieces of rope. You just sling it up over your shoulders. You got a sign on the front, a sign on the back, and you can just walk around giving everybody your message. You just don't see that anymore these days.
No, you don't. Well, now everybody's got social media for their sandwich board. They just put it on there. So now instead of the one crazy guy giving his opinion, you got a million crazy people all giving their opinion.
How about Honor Your Oath Investigations? A little piece of torn up cardboard. It says, God bless the homeless vets.
Oh, I love him.
They just arrested his ass.
Really? I was going to say, he always gets harassed and like big time, but he always stands his ground.
Well, he was standing out in front of the city hall prior to the town meeting. And then they tried to boot him off. And he's like, well, no, I'm just going to stay here. Then he went inside for the meeting and was like standing in the back with his camera. And like, oh, we tried to kick him off the property earlier, so they just had the cops come and arrest him. Yeah, you be sure it's not going to turn out well for them, given that he was doing absolutely nothing wrong. But yeah, there's a couple of them that go out there and like to hold their signs. There's a couple of them doing a big old sign over the freeway.
A little more abrupt than God Bless the Homeless, though.
Yeah, a bit more.
I think I know which one you're talking about. I've seen some other guys standing out there holding big signs, big 4 foot by 3 foot signs.
I believe that was Sean Porter. I'm pretty sure is right, because he was protesting Governor Larry Hogan right at the beginning of the whole mask thing. And yeah, he had some pretty choice words. He made it abundantly clear what his position was and his feelings for Governor Larry Hogan. And he'd always get the okay first and stand out there and just swat the statees and the county sheriffs and everybody away as they came to try to do it. People come tearing it out of his hand, breaking it in half, throwing it in the media, and just fucking his shit up. He's suing them and making them take out $40 out of their pocket to pay for the sign. It's pretty good stuff.
Did you see that college student who got arrested for trying to steal someone's sign?
I don't think so.
It was a pro-life thing that was going on, and this girl walked up and grabbed the sign and started walking away with it, and a cop saw her and stopped her, and she just couldn't understand why she was getting arrested. She could not believe it. Like, you stole his... Well, I only moved it, is what she said. Yeah, but it's not yours. You took it and you went walking away with it, and when I caught up to you, then you put it down. So I don't want to hear I'm only moving it. We saw you do that. And she just couldn't believe it. I can't believe you're taking their side, she said. Like, he's like, I'm not here one way or another on one side or the other here. You stole something. That's why I'm here talking to you. And she just couldn't believe it. The injustice that was done to her.
Well, I mean, I just can't believe it. She thinks that that's what they're here for. They're only here to uphold corporate law. Like,
yeah, they're not here choosing sides.
No, they don't. Yeah,
you broke the law. That's what they're law enforcement. They're not feelings enforcement. They're not here to make everybody feel
no matter what. They send you both to court. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to pay for dismissal. You got to pay to go there. You got to pay for the whole process. So no matter what, like whether you don't even go to the trial or to the judgment or the whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just a big money racket. They're taking somebody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they get all their little odds and ends, the nickel and diamond court cost and this and that and yada, yada, yada. I mean, if it was set up the way our original country was founded, and not all the laws, but a lot of the ones that have to do with money and politicians, all those laws that were in place that they've just removed and wiped out, those are the ones that need to come back. Yes, getting rid of slavery, getting rid of all this other stuff, yes, those were all great things. But
I don't think that ever even happened. I think the opposite. I think they just enslaved everybody. I think is.
Well, yeah. Once they started,
you're free, but everyone's a slave.
Yeah. Once Abraham Lincoln allowed the printing of money, he made everyone a slave right there.
Right there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. People get upset when I say that. Oh, it's true though. I mean.
Yeah, he was the one who did it. Yeah, he was the one in charge that okayed it and put it through.
And then the 14th Amendment, it was...
Yeah, that's not my narrative. I didn't write that shit. You know what I mean? I'm just regurgitating it to you. Don't be upset.
That's why they created the United States citizen. So that people could not be a slave. I mean, you're not going to be free, but at least you won't be a slave. You get to be a U.S. citizen. Congratulations. You're second class. By the way, we're going to take some of your income. Every single check because you're a U.S. citizen. No, I heard Rights Crispy and Rogue Nation going out doing their Crispy Nation audits. And God damn it, I heard at least George say it once, maybe even both of them, talking about that fucking social contract. So I think I'm going to reach out and see if I can get at least one of them on. I bet you we could probably get Finn on. Finn is not unfamiliar with Flat Earth channels. Seems like Boston Ray's Mudflood might have had him on. Somebody had him on, I remember, a while back. So I bet you we could get him on. But I'd like to have them both on to have a conversation about the social contract. And maybe even a little bit of jurisdiction, because I think they're confusing.
Well, I mean, typing in chat right now, are you in jurisdiction? You know?
What evidence do you have? How many types of jurisdiction are you? What do you mean? What do you mean when you say jurisdiction? Whatever the courts mean when they say jurisdiction, that's what I mean. I'm no attorney. I'm not here to dole out legal advice. I'm just curious as to what makes you think your rules apply to me. What evidence do you have that says I've agreed to any of that bullshit?
It's all hearsay. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you can provide evidence. Social contract. Excellent. Contract law is relatively straightforward. All you got to do is show it.
Here's a name on a piece of paper. Like, who the fuck is that? That's not me.
And I never signed any fucking social contract. Yeah, guaranteed.
And then they're like, oh, this is your birth date or whatever. Like, that's all hearsay. Were you there? You know what I mean? Like, arguable.
Much love, Logan Cook.
Well, Logan Cook gave us some willing income there. Thank you for that super chat, Logan.
Which is the way taxes should be.
We didn't get anyone that wanted to jump in with us. Volunteer. Or
you know what? I never even put up any numbers or posted any links.
Is anyone interested? You should jump in.
I'm almost a little worried about the audio. It's a fucking crapshoot.
So
what I'll do, I'll drop the number out, and then I'll just go ahead and open it up.
Or see if anyone wants to post any conversation topics or whatever.
Find out where I can watch soccer matches. No thanks. Fucking good.
Europe.
There we go. I believe
soccer had a chance in the United States back in the mid-'90s when they had the World Cup come through. All kinds of people jumped on and started. I mean, young people my age, around that age, 14, 15. At least around northern Indiana, soccer just exploded. You know, the amount of people playing grew by like fivefold, easy.
Everybody was wearing hooded sweatshirts with Umbros and 3-stripe Adidas like it was fucking cool.
Yeah. And they did not, I mean, they had a chance. They started their pro league and all that kind of stuff, and they didn't. It's weird.
Just didn't catch on.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the old players have said that it's the players' fault for not, playing at that high level. It seemed like once they got there, they were like content. And there were no amazing plays anymore in America. It wasn't like watching European football where these guys are doing just amazing, crazy things like every other time, they get a touch. And you don't see that over here. You don't see that type of skill. It's not, they had a chance, and they kind of like the WNBA, they just were like, we're just going to
scrap that project.
Yeah, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing for the last 25 years, even though we're losing money every year. Let's just keep going with the same game plan and just keep, it's sad, really. I mean, soccer had a chance in this country, and I don't know. It seems like the players kind of blew it. Do they even play pro soccer? I think they still do here in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about like with the restrictions and stuff like that. Like if they actually have people come out. I mean, I don't know about that, but probably they do. Pretty sure that's all back to normal. I don't know.
Yeah,
or back to what they call normal.
My brother-in-law, big soccer fan, but he watches European League soccer mostly. He does watch some American, but he doesn't. He'll go to the games and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. But if there's two different, like he pays attention to their league a lot more than he does the American League.
Just bigger, more players, probably more active.
Yeah, just the availability to find the data and all that kind of stuff is there. It's not there for like it is over there. Here in the US, they just didn't run with it enough. Yeah. It's a shame. Because, I mean, it's not a sport that's going anywhere. The whole rest of the world does it. It's like the metric system and standards. It's like something that the US just isn't going to adopt.
But the conditioning and the brainwashing is also exponentially more for a lot of these European football player fans too, because they just go absolutely ape shit.
Yeah, they do. It's like people with American football over here.
Even more, I bet. I don't
mean,
think anything compares. That's why I say it's the conditioning and the
like,
mental state that it takes for these football fans. It's beyond me.
Yeah, they don't fail to fill stadiums over there.
Do you guys believe that sports are real, or do you believe that it's fixed?
No, I've always thought that there was, within the last 10 years, I came to the conclusion that sports have always been somewhat fixed. But just it's weird you ask, because over this last week, I've heard so many professional athletes coming out and pointing out plays where people are missing tackles on purpose to allow people to score touchdowns. And I always thought, it's just the quarterback and the refs, some stuff like that. It can't be like the whole team. But there's people saying that they know who's going to win the game before the game even starts.
If you know gematria, you know who's going to win. I mean, it's a numerology thing. If you really want to know, I mean, I'm not going to give you any advice on any of that or tell you anything about that, but that's basically how they're coming to these conclusions, I would say.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that people can get the gematria all mixed up. It's like it all depends on what their meanings are behind a lot of this stuff. It could be as simple as the colors or the mascots or certain players' birthdays. I mean, they can, pick out certain things and have things go a certain way according to the stars.
But
into their numerology.
According to the stars, but also too, like you would have to review like what other things are going on in the world of that sport or whatever,
Yeah.
It's not just the game.
So intricate. It's not easy to do.
Yeah. It could be like this guy got married. That could be like this event that happened in the skies in astrology or whatever, like some alchemical marriage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird. It's occulted knowledge. It's not something that is easy to go look up and find. This is the stuff that they try to keep hidden.
Well, I don't think at this point. I honestly, I don't agree because I feel like at this point nothing is hidden. Those who seek shall find. If you go out looking for it, you'll find it. It's there. Everything about everything is there.
Greatest apocalypse ever.
I mean, there might be some stuff missing, and there might be some false traps and rabbit holes to get you to get sucked into and blah, 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 blah. But it's out there. If you're looking for it, you'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for the information on any of these subjects, it's there. I mean, I don't even know what else I can say about that. It's there. Just look.
And don't be afraid to ask, too.
No.
Some people call it praying. Some people just call it talking to the wind, whatever you want to call it. Don't be afraid to ask to be shown knowledge. Because it's crazy where it'll come from sometimes.
Well, it all comes from within. Everything comes from within. Even our outer reality is a projection from within, from what's going on within. That's how we know the world needs to be healed, because everyone needs to be healed.
Yeah, even you may not know it, but a child may come up to you and just out of the blue tell you something that you've been asking, to know. It's really weird how it all works. the synchronicities and when things hit you, and sometimes we're told these things, but we don't get it in that moment. It takes a little while. And then maybe a couple years down the road, you'll have that memory come back with new knowledge gained, and then it all makes sense again. Yeah, this place is amazing. It is. It's a giant puzzle.
It's a master learning school, and everyone's here to learn a lesson. And every time you complete a lesson, you'll have a new lesson presented to you. There's a new lesson every day. It's amazing. Very thankful for the opportunity. I know a lot of people, they want to think real negative and let all these things weigh them down, but sometimes you just got to remember we're here right now, enjoying life.
Yeah, it's all what we make it. Like I said, there's people out there with nothing. Look at India, where there's so many people that are almost not making enough to survive even.
Did we talk about the world population right now? Did I mention that?
We didn't, but you mentioned a little bit about how you're not even sure that I don't think there's that many people here.
Well, I don't think so either. And the reason I say that is, like, even just look at the internet, it's 80% bots. So, like, no matter how many followers a guy has and likes and whatever, how many of those are just robots?
Yeah, they said at least 80% of the traffic on Twitter was bots.
Yeah. It's not just Twitter, it's the whole web. Spiders and all types of stuff, like tracking things, search queries, all kinds of crazy shit going on all the same time. Packets flying everywhere, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy how much they have everything surveilled now. And I think they've been doing it for as long as, forever, as long as they could.
Yeah.
It just used to be done different.
Well, were you guys talking earlier about, I think you were, but if not, we could still talk about it again anyways, just like military grade hardware, like 30 years ago, like, now some of that's becoming more like consumer type tech, but like, what are they using now type stuff? So like, what were they using 30 years ago? Do we even know yet?
Yeah.
Did they have HD cameras in all our appliances? Was it like Truman Show? They're watching you from every outlet. You're connected to electricity. You're just electric line. Can they use that for collecting all different types of data from you? Obviously, their lines. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I think it was the head of the NSA in 1994 came out and said that there are recording devices in your toaster oven, your microwave, your refrigerator, your radios, your television, recording all of your ambient background information.
Right, but then it's plugged into the wall, so then all that data is being transmitted through the wall too. That's what's even crazier. Through
They
copper.
said they had access to all of this. The NSA does. And the people at the factories, they don't know about it. They didn't put together the little boards and this and that and yada yada yada. All that stuff's done by machines nowadays.
Yeah.
All the circuit boards, all that stuff is all done by
everything.
machines.
Even farming is at this point.
Yeah. So it's not like humans even really. There's very few humans that have to be in on it. The guy working at the microwave factory isn't.
Yeah, the guy doing the repair, he doesn't care. He's just going there to repair a robot and leave, right?
Yeah, he finds the bad part and then he puts in a new part. That's it. He doesn't go through and he reads a schematic that tells him what things are. Yeah, I've always wanted to learn that, the whole schematic thing, and I wanted to go looking for these devices at one time. But I had no idea what to look for. But they say they're in everything.
Yeah.
Now we carry them around with us everywhere we go.
Yeah. Well, that too, and it doesn't even matter at this point. If I'm not carrying it, is the guy next to me carrying it?
Yep. Voice recognition. They probably even have our electromagnetic field down.
I don't know. I think there's some type of limit to it, and I don't want to say that their facial recognition is really that accurate either. I want to tell you the exact opposite of that. Like maybe it could in certain situations, but like you could be like in a level 2 disguise and you could be hiding your ears. You could have glasses. You could have different things going on, basic things going on where you're not like having to wear like a prosthetic face or something like that to disguise your appearance, you know? And real simple, and you could beat those machines. I mean, it happens. People know how to navigate through all that. It's not really as difficult as it may seem. But if you're carrying the tracking devices, obviously it's going to be a little bit different. Meaning like your cell phone or whatever, your
Yeah,
smartwatch,
I always wanted to learn how to do all
your
the
ATM
hacking.
card, your ID, your passport. I'm sorry. I was talking. I thought I was on mute.
Yeah, I always wanted to learn how to do all the type of hacking stuff and, be, outside the eyes of the system and this and that and be able to fight the man through the computers and this and that. But I always told myself no, because I know myself. And I probably would have tried to do that crazy stuff at one time.
And what would it have done? What would the outcome have been? You know?
Yeah, me in prison.
Right. Exactly. I mean, like, who has ever had a successful attack or done like one of those things where it actually means something? You know?
Yeah, where you have an outcome that's positive. Never.
Right. And I'm not talking about like the scripted shit we hear from all these different sources, whatever. I don't mean that stuff, the stage reality. I'm talking about like where's the dude that made the impact that we all knew, like that guy turned all the fucking whatever off, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah,
The
why?
cameras.
When's the day going to come when we all wake up and everybody's got $100,000 in their account?
Right,
And
right.
that doesn't happen. It doesn't work that
The
way.
$1 million credits in everyone's account. Spend it wisely.
Yeah.
When it's gone, it's gone. Fight to the death.
Well, what was it back in 2008 when we bailed out those 5 banks that were too big to fail? Remember that?
Right, right.
They gave away enough money to those 5 banks that they could have given every U.S. citizen $45,000 to pay off their bills.
Yeah, but do you think that they use those numbers so like the average person couldn't even comprehend what that
Yep.
really even means? Like they're like 29.68 trillion. Like when have you ever wrote that number out in your life? Like, do you really know how many zeros go in that equation? You know,
No,
people
yeah, I had
don't.
to sit down and do the math myself. And then when I did, I was like, what the fuck? Why are we
Yeah,
giving this money to the banks?
right.
Because the banks would have to foreclose on all these people and they'd lose their homes. So we're just going to give the money to the banks. And then the banks turn around and foreclose on all these people anyway, because they can't give the banks the money that they owe them. So why not give the money to the people to pay off the bank and then have a little extra left? You want to boost the economy? Give money people to buy stuff, not give it to the banks who are going to then turn around and give all their executives $1 million bonuses.
I just don't I don't see that happening anywhere in the world stage anywhere.
No,
I just don't.
Gaddafi tried doing it in Libya, and look what happened to him.
Yeah, but I'm saying now, like in modern time, like right now, like in any country, anywhere, I think it's the same everywhere. I think the oppression's the same. I think they keep their population dumb and docile, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the plan. As long as everybody's distracted with the distractions they want out there, they're doing fine. They don't
Yeah.
care what truths get out there and this and that. They know this 24-hour news cycle that we now live on. Tomorrow's a new day, and I just heard something about trillions of dollars missing again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then next day it's
What's
gone.
going on?
Yeah, and then the next day you don't hear anything about it again. It's like,
Yeah, but is that also like another like trauma to affect your mind too? Like I kind of feel like that's like fear trauma. Like I think there's a lot of psychological attack behind that more than you would just think it's just like a simple headline. And I think it's a lot more loaded. Even the number that's included with it, whatever that number is. I don't look at headlines. I generally like I could read through some of them, and some of them I'm not even interested. It's just a distraction, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at the end of the day, like it's hard. Like I'd rather focus on uh like creating things to make a difference or a change, if it's even possible at this point, uh then focus on their nonsense and their whatever, and then me going around regurgitating what they're saying. I can't subscribe to that stuff anymore because most of it's scripted and it just sounds ridiculous. You know what I mean? And like like some of the things that people say and they talk about, I can't get into it. I don't know, man. I'm just so I know it's a lie. I know all of it's a lie. Every detail of it is a lie. You know what I mean? Like every part of it. And people want to accept certain parts of it to be true, but then they want to say, "Oh, but this part's true, but this one's false. You're wrong about that one." I'm like, so they're telling you the half truth? Is that what you're trying to say to me now? Like they're telling you the truth sometimes because they like you sometimes, but the rest of the time they're lying to you. So they're telling you the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. That it's like, well, NASA didn't go to the moon, but they're on the ISS.
Yeah, I had my friend tell me like, well, they didn't go there because they couldn't. They had to fake it. You know what I mean? I'm like, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean
Well,
they
they had to
had?
fake it. He said,
They
but they've been
had.
there since then. They went like a bunch of times after the time they faked it. Like, are you sure they faked it the first time? Why do you think they went the second time?
And it's funny because now even Buzz Aldrin, I think, has said it 3 times now in interviews about how people say, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing you on TV." He's like, "No, you didn't. That was all video. That was pre-recorded in case something went wrong." Okay, so
I mean,
what
they're
do
just
you?
mocking you. In my opinion, it's just mockery. They're making a
Yeah,
mockery, you know?
what do you mean in case something went wrong? Like we weren't going to notice you didn't come home? What are you going to? Are you going to make something up like in between? Like, yeah, they landed on the moon, and then I mean, you have all the video of them doing all this stuff.
What do you expect,
What happens
Zach?
if they?
Can you imagine how traumatic it would be for the population to see astronauts going up and it just exploding in the midair?
Well,
That'd
yeah,
fuck up the
actually,
whole
they showed me
population.
that live.
Oh,
Yeah, they did. They did. And not only
because
did
they
they do it
stopped doing
live, Zach,
pre-records.
they did it in the schools. No, don't you remember? They
That
wheeled them out on carts and TVs to every classroom, so all the children saw that shit as well too. So
was one of those
what kind of
children.
like
Yeah,
what kind of mass psychosis trauma did they afflict upon the brain that day with the brainwashing machine, where they always came in the classroom with that big old monster TV that was just putting out all those crazy frequencies, frying your kids' brains? You know what I'm saying?
man, I wish we had video of the teachers' reactions and them just slowly wheeling the TV back out of the room after that. Okay, I guess it's time for recess now. I mean, what do you do after that? I don't
But
even
what?
remember.
But yeah, you can show the people the pictures of those people alive now and what they're doing now. Like he's at this school doing this. You know what I mean? They still won't believe it.
Same name, same
Same name. They didn't
teeth.
even change shit. Yeah.
Yeah, all of this identification stuff that we were talking about
Or
earlier.
they transgendered. They became a woman, or
Yeah, that one lady has the exact
or
same
became a
teeth,
man.
the exact same earlobes, the same nose, the same lips, all that facial recognition stuff you were talking about. It like lines up perfectly with these
Yeah,
people they found.
but have you ever like there's like a lot of people that they like you have like that identical twin, but you're not related, doppelganger type
Yeah,
scenario, but you look like real identical to. I
yeah,
think that would really fuck up the whole system. Like if you had someone that looked like you in London and another guy looked like you in Saudi Arabia, it doesn't even matter where, and you had this universal system, wouldn't that fuck it up? You guys all have the same face bone structure, the cheek structure, the same ear. I mean, I don't know if the ear is identical, but I guess maybe that's how the identification would work. But I just don't see the computer processing that much information that fast locally like that everywhere,
yeah. I don't think it happens. Well, I see it as them playing Sun Tzu's Art of War. Look strong where you're weak.
Right.
Look weak where you're strong. You know, there's not many people out. The NSA doesn't go around toting telling people, hey, you know, we're 5 times bigger than the FBI.
Right.
They never say that. You never hear about the NSA, you know, and what they're really doing and this and that, or how big they actually are and how much power they really hold here. But you'll hear about how great these other things are and how advanced they are and how they can never be this and that. And yet, it's look strong where you're weak and look weak where you're strong. I think they play that in a lot of different ways.
I mean, I think as part of, in my opinion, though, it's all part of the psychological warfare and what the fuck? Sorry, the neighbor just like kicked up a weed whacker. It's like starting to get dark out. I'm just like, what was that noise? I don't know, a while. I don't even know what we're talking about. Maybe Josh knows.
I know Walmart's been using facial recognition software for a hot minute. My dog is going crazy, so this is going to suck. But
it's all right.
So just the wire mesh frames that they can overlay that measure those biometrics that make each face individual. It's really not all that much processing power to get it done.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying to get it done. I'm just talking about like on a mass scale, like if they're doing it everywhere at all times. Like if you're walking into the Walmart and it's happening there, it's happening at Rite Aid, you know what I mean? Like everywhere you go, every instance, you know what I'm saying? What would that take? And like, where are you storing all that and why? What the fuck for, you know?
Probably not all of them. Like if you're using street cameras, they're probably not running that sort of facial recognition software live.
No, they're depending on your license plates.
Right.
And your cell phone.
But someone can probably take that footage and use software that can run biometrics and get the person driving and see who it is and identify them that way. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the street department's using it. Whereas I think Walmart is. Well, I mean, that's a lot of Walmarts identifying a lot of fucking people of Walmart.
Let's just look at you, for example. Let's just look at what you're wearing right now. You're covering your ears. And ears is one of their biggest identifiers. So, like, you basically cut them off. You put some sunglasses on, you're pretty hidden.
So when you think about the wireframing, I'm sorry.
I mean, they're going to get your cheekbones.
You've done a whole lot of computer animation.
Yeah,
you're not unfamiliar with. So when you think of rigging, and you're rigging a character, you have a gait, right? That the gait, the way that character walks. Right. A part of their biometric scanning is seeing how your hips align, where your legs are, where your knee bends, where your foot bends, how it bends. And they can see, I've seen some pretty interesting demonstrations of software that they can identify objects under your clothes just by the way that your coat hangs. The camera says, "Oh, he's probably carrying a gun because I can see it under his coat."
I'm not disagreeing with that because even your cell phone is doing the same thing. Your cell phone has a gyrometer or whatever. That's the data that it's really giving to all these companies. All the apps that you've installed. You have your favorite, I just got the Facebook. That's what people say. They just got the Facebook and they just got this. All those apps are taking all that data and constantly analyzing. They know what position you're laying in, how you're using the phone, when you're using the phone, where you're using the phone, how fast you're going when you're using the phone, all that stuff. And that's really the data that's important to them. That's what they're selling, I'm pretty sure, to people like Walmart to like say like, hey, this guy's, like you're saying, they put in you some kind of database, figuring out who you are, kind of, you know? Mm-hmm. And I mean, everyone gives away all that stuff freely anyways, regardless. I mean, just all the time. They just don't know it.
Well, is Walmart one of those companies that is owned by the Big Six? I mean,
they're owned by the Wall family.
Yeah, Sam Walton. I know he passed, but does his family own most of Walmart?
I'm pretty sure still. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they do. I'm pretty sure that they're still kind of independent. It's like they're billionaire family or whatever. I'm not really familiar.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I don't go on one of those stores ever, no matter what. Even at a last resort, I'll just not go. You know what I mean? I just vote with my dollar, I guess you would say, you know?
Yeah, same here. I used to go a lot.
Where I live at in Los Angeles, they banned them. So only certain parts are allowed to have them. And a lot of people didn't want them in their neighborhoods because they just basically take down all the local businesses and assimilate all of their customers and start carrying all the products that everyone in their like whatever mile radius, 10, 15 mile radius around them carries, you know?
Yeah.
It's a Borg like assimilation, you know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty vicious.
And I've only been to Walmart, I think, like once in the last 6 months, and that's because it was the AT&T store didn't have any of their cheap phones. And the way I go through phones, I don't get nice phones. I break them. That's just me. So I had to go to Walmart to get a cheap one, and there was nobody like working. I saw one person pulling a pallet jack with a pallet full of stuff going into the back room. But in like every department, there was people at the desk thing there waiting in lines. I was in electronics, of course, getting a phone, and there was 4 people standing there at the desk waiting in line. And nobody around anywhere. I don't know if it's like that everywhere.
No, I think it's like that everywhere. Everything's run on like the minimal employees.
That's transhumanism.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the slow roll of transhumanism. I'm convinced of it. I was talking about this the other day too. That's why they hire, not even hire. That's why they employ and put at the cash registers of Walmart the slowest, most incompetent people.
Well, right, and then they make the other lines available. There's plenty of them, and it's that computer version. So you don't want to wait for the slow fucking person that's not really moving that fast.
Yep.
Or do you want to get that convenience to just get in and out there as quick as possible because you don't want to be there in the first place because of the attack on your eyes from the LEDs, you know?
Yep.
I'm one of those nut jobs that loves talking to my checkout ladies.
I'm one of those nut jobs that hates talking to the checkout ladies, but fuck you if you think I'm going to check myself out, you motherfucker. You're going to charge me these exorbitant prices so you can pay your employees to do what? I'm checking myself out. Fine, I'll go through self-checkout. Give me a 15% discount.
Even when you do get in the line with them too, sometimes they don't even bag it for you. They're like, and then you got to buy the bag, and you're like, well, so I got to pay for the bag, and then I got to put it in there myself. Like, okay, like what kind of shit is this?
Yeah, no, whatever the local supermarket, whatever their management is doing.
I start picking up the check-in gun and making up my own prices. Since I'm on shift, I figure, what the fuck?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I'm working. I'm going to discount this whole order 40%. Put my code in. Call the manager over here real quick. You know.
What was that? My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin. He gets the price gun. He goes up to all the steaks and he's putting them all like 25 cents, 23 cents, something like that. Oh man,
the good old days of programming.
Wasn't that just like the child's version of the Goodfellas?
Yeah, it was pretty much.
Basically,
it was all Henry Hill's story. Basically, it was the same story of Henry Hill. One just used his name and more realistic approach. The other one made this weird, goofy comedy about it.
Yeah, there's only 19 stories. You can tell.
Yeah, and there we go. Oh, that's what. See, there's that number we were talking about earlier, Zach. We're gonna have to definitely have a future discussion about that number. And look, there's another version of it, the 19 stories. You know.
Yeah, how many crazy things happened on the 19th?
Just look some dates up. Look some dates up. Look up like when
was the Ides of March?
Yeah, just look at some dates. Let's just see some like so-called historical dates.
While you're looking up those dates, I'm going to say thank you to Andrew B over there on Rock Band throwing the super tips or whatever they're called on Rock Band.
Andrew B for the super chips.
The super tips.
You got some real nice tips, Andrew.
Blast this morning with you. Hanging out,
Legendary.
buddy.
Legendary.
Yeah, and a really good after show chat too.
After talk was great. Yeah, thank you, friend.
Yeah, I think the last couple of shows, David, you were there the last Tuesday. I think we hung out for a good.
Yeah, with Andrew for a bit
after
after the after show. Yeah, we did. That's when. Oh, sorry. There's like a tow truck, and I'm just looking at what's going on. Yeah. We had a good conversation after Walt and Zack. Walt and Josh left already. We still talked for like another hour.
Yeah. Yeah,
Definitely. Good chat for sure. What were we just talking about? Did anyone look up any of these historical dates?
No, I haven't yet. I'm gonna look into this a lot more though, because I've always been fascinated with dates and, like you said, the numerology of it. Because
numerology of it. It means something.
All this stuff, yeah.
Well, I basically told you a little quick version of what I think, and I'll definitely like to elaborate on it more. But I definitely also have to look into a few other things regarding it. And I mean, I've always had that same theory though. Like right away, that was always my gut intuition, I guess you would say, was what I felt about the numbers. And like we're in this mathematical universe or whatever, so obviously numbers are all important somehow or another. I think a lot of people ignore that.
So on January 19th, we had King Edward III introducing...
And that's Janice Wary. Janice.
Right. Introducing sumptuary laws restricting what people ate and wore to preserve social status. Also on January 19th, we had... that was in 1363. This is 1419. The French city of Rouen surrenders to Henry V in the 100 Years' War. Let's see. Not much happening there in January that really pumps out. Let's see what happened. First manned balloon flight in Ireland, 1785.
I mean, what was the date of World War One? I think that's the reference somebody gave.
I don't have it handy here. First electric lighting system employing overhead wires by Mr. Edison began service in New Jersey in 1883 on the 19th. I'm just kind of scanning through. First air raid on Britain, World War I, 1915, on the 19th of January.
19th. There's a lot. I mean, I think the further you dig, the more you see it. Like like the people that are looking for those type of things.
January. That's how it came up. All these things happened January 19th. I'm sure each
I know
stuff is different, but
I know there's a little more to it, and I know somebody else has talked about it before. What's his name? Something with analog. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Not offhand.
Oh man. Anyways, I think they've gone over this before as well too, but I'm not really sure like what direction or anything. I've not tuned into it or anything like that. But I know that they were discussing it, that they were previously talking about it or something like that. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard it, but something with analog. I forget what it is, but it's pretty. They're talking some pretty interesting stuff about like Florida having like the Moorish temples everywhere and all the architecture, all kinds of interesting subjects over there. But I'm not sure what the channel is. Something with analog.
Does not sound familiar.
I don't have a phone in front of me.
I mean, actually, yes. Since we've started the call, that's the great thing about this particular show is my two friends are on this particular call. So whatever help that's going to be. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna find it right now. I just gotta get a tablet to look on YouTube to look at the channels so that I subscribe to or whatever.
And I'm busy digging through these state things.
Yeah, what else did he come up with, Walt?
I mean, just different things, man. Lots of shit happens.
Lots of shit happens. How's that for a t-shirt?
Shit happens.
Wait.
Lots of shit.
The testicle boy himself, Lance Armstrong, admits to doping in all 7 of his Tour de France victories. 2013, January 9th. I'm still in
sounds
January.
right. This sounds right though to me. Like
rolling away here.
What happens when you start fucking with your testosterone levels? Turns out you might get cancer. Wonder if they're planning on trying to have this weird testosterone hormone replacement therapy for young children anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't think any of those people go through any of that stuff, to tell you the truth.
Wait, what? You don't think they'll tell you the truth? Is that what you said?
No, I don't think they go through any of those things. And even if they do, like, they're getting some special, like, treatment that you're not going to get, the average guy is not going to get, you know? I mean, it's someone that would be in the know, someone would be on their team. I don't think they're just going to let them go out like that. I don't know.
June 19th, 1905, in the USA, the world's first Nickelodeon opened, showing a silent film called The Great Train Robbery. The name Nickelodeon was used because it cost 5 cents to use it. I'll just keep throwing these at y'all as we're going.
When I was in Great America, they had penny Lodeons, if that's what you call them. I think they had the nickel ones too, but they had a bunch of these old boxes, and you'd go up and turn this crank while you put your head down and look through these things, and it would be like a silent movie going on. Sometimes there'd be music to it or something like that, but yeah, I remember that for some reason. It cost a penny for a lot of them.
The channel that I was talking about earlier is Waking Up with Analog, and I think their channel is, or I'm not sure if this is correct, but I think the channel is Old World Florida. So people that are interested in like Tartarian type stuff and early American history and other things like that, and different versions of his story. It's a good channel to look into.
Pope Charles Manson died in prison 11/19/2017.
I didn't even know that. Is that I thought that I was thinking about that kind of recently. Whatever happened to that guy?
Well, interestingly enough, I skimmed by the fact that they played Helter Skelter at his trial on January 19th.
I mean, yeah. If you just keep looking, it's the pattern. If you just keep looking, it's a pattern. So, like, does it tell you that it's fake? Is that the pattern? Is that the decode? Is this the decode? Like, when you see this, that means it's not real. If it happened on this date, it's not real. Or is it, like I suggested to you guys earlier, is it an attack on something that people just don't really understand the actual number, the physical number, you know? Mm-hmm. Which, like, you know, some people could say, like, in vortex math, you would round it up and it would be 10. So say 10. But I think people give some of these things too much power. And, you know, like we talked about earlier before we went live on the show, they basically usurped every single number there is. Like, what number is left for the good guy if they're all used for the bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it the intent you put behind it? Or is it what you accept as well? Like, do they fire that at you and you just accept it? Or do you say, like, hey, no, 7's a magical number, not an evil number, you know?
Exactly.
Get more specific. Use decimals, break that shit into a fraction, and fuck them.
Well, I mean, they gave you pi already. It just keeps going, right? It's infinite, right?
That's right. This whole conversation already written in pi.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it could, I mean, I don't know. I sometimes I just try to don't say anything about certain things, but sometimes I just have to let loose, you know.
It's the joy of people saying things about something that's infinite. Pi is infinite. I mean, every fucking combination's already out there written in pi.
That's funny.
Our first 3 shows we ever did written in pi.
I do want to actually talk about like sulfur and mercury and some other things sometime too. I mean, I just there's just so much to say about it. It would be like a whole other 2-hour fucking conversation. But
Oh, did you see the new battery formula that supposedly is way better than lithium ion?
no, let's hear it though.
It's a sulfur. Oh, what was the other one? Dang it. Oh, I hope it pops back up. I need to save this one. Turntable paradox, blah, 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 blah. Ford GT hits record 310, a street legal Ford GT, 310 miles an hour.
Dang.
Yeah,
A
that's
street legal GT?
Yeah, 310. That's ridiculous.
310 miles an hour. Wow. How do you like? You know how fast that is? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every little
That's over twice 150 miles an hour.
But I mean, you're going 150. You barely move the wheel a little bit. That's a big, massive move, you know.
Yeah, I've never gone 150. I've gone like 125 driving.
Oh, we take it to Bucktown everywhere I go. It's Bucktown. Like, if we're gonna go out to San Francisco, we're hitting a buck the whole way there. If we're not hitting a buck, we're off the schedule. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah, 120 is like a different world. Once you start,
different world. But you have to be able to know
start,
how. You have to be in control of your vehicle too, though. You have to be able to know how to like recover from like anything that could happen. Like it could be very dangerous. I'm not promoting this. I'm not trying to glorify it either. Be safe.
Yeah, but just thinking of going like 160 is because 100 to 120 is a different world. And then they say when you get up to like 160, it's like a totally different world now.
Scary.
Yeah. And then 200, I couldn't even imagine that. Like,
yeah, but like 3?
Yeah, 3. What? I mean, you can't have another car out there with you. He was on a runway going that fast by himself, you know. I mean, those guys in NASCAR were getting insane there for a while in the late 90s. They were doing like 210 miles an hour around the track. That's like 40 people in cars doing 200 miles an hour, right, and bumping into each other and stuff. Just ridiculous, crazy stuff. They had to slow it down. That's when they started putting restrictor plates all over them to try to keep them from going so fast. Yeah, I couldn't imagine going that fast. That just 120 was enough for me. And when I stepped on the brake and it didn't even slow down, it didn't seem like it slowed down at all. I couldn't imagine going that fast. That just
oops.
100. Yeah, it freaked me out. It wasn't an old 69 Camaro muscle car with drum brakes all the way around. I shouldn't have been going that fast. But, man, it was fun.
Something about that year, those cars just went much faster than they should have.
Yeah, a lot of the cars, right around the 71, 72 Chevelles, just ridiculous, man. Coming out of the factory, just crazy.
350, 400 horsepower. They do. They do. Look up sleeper cars.
They cost a lot.
Not even as much as you'd think. Like my boss had the Camaro that was like the super street strip racing version that was just an ungodly amount of money, and every little thing that would happen to go wrong would be like over $1,000 to fix it because it was just this big stupid machinery built for racing. It's like track mode and all kinds of shit on it. It got to the point where he had to downsize, but he's driving this Cadillac now that's pushing about 400 horsepower factory out of the right off the line. And it's not even like the actual sleeper version of the Cadillac's fast cars. They're 500-600 horsepowers. I think you can get them. You'd be surprised when they want to make a fast car how fast they'll make it. I mean, look at a Tesla. Teslas go ridiculously fast right out of the factory.
Bob says that he have Doobie 125 mile per hour on his V-Rod.
That's just insanity.
Yeah.
Motorcycles going that fast.
I've done 100 on a motorcycle, and it wasn't much of a turn, but once that back tire starts skipping behind you, almost coming out to the side, and you're like, oh,
scary.
Fuck, yeah. It's a little scary.
Yeah, some people are built for it, some people aren't. I mean, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea.
Nope. I am not built for it.
It's not even the motorcycle part of it. It's just the other people on the road. For me, it has nothing to do with the motorcycle at all. Just like, how are you dodging this big 5-ton car? You know what I mean? Like, when it just doesn't know how to drive, people are so under the trance that, you know what I mean? Like, people are texting. I constantly, when I'm driving, I just see people texting.
It's scary. I think that's one of the things that I really am glad that I instilled in my son is not only the fear of stupid ass people around him, but the healthy respect of the weapon that he's basically in command of as he's going down the road.
Exactly.
Do you hear how much some of these new electric vehicles weigh?
That's
these
why they
electric
go so fast.
Pickup are like 9,000 pounds. That's, I mean, when you hit something doing like 40 and you weigh 4,000 pounds, you're doing damage. Now double that. I mean, that's just physics. You're going to do a lot more damage.
But is that the new Tesla, like, delivery trucks? That's not like the pickup truck. They don't have a like 4.5-ton version of a pickup truck, do they? What's the point of that?
Let me see. I know it wasn't like the semis. Let me see which vehicle it was.
There's a lot of electric vehicles these days. Like, it's you know, everyone's making them at this point, you know, like, especially like, I guess I see a lot of them here in California because they're trying to supposedly get rid of fossil fuel cars or whatever, right? I don't know. I don't even pay attention.
I don't know if they're going to say the 9,000 pounds here.
Did it happen on the 19th, though?
Yeah, I just saw a thing. Okay. Oh, 9,000 pound electric Hummer. So it's a Hummer.
It's a Hummer.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Drives 37 yards. It's really cool.
Gets up to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds.
Yeah, but how far of a distance can it go? Because a lot of these ones, like, you got to pay the good money to get anywhere further than 100 miles away. They basically, like, really limit you like crazy in all those electric vehicles.
It has 1,000 horsepower. Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
It's all torque.
Yeah, but, like, does it get 2 hours on the battery? Like, how far can you go?
Well, I said 37 yards is your max distance.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, I think that's kind of maybe the point too. They don't want you going that far. They kind of want to limit how far you go. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to drive across the country. And that's like, where you got to stop every so many hundred of miles. You know what I'm saying? Like
0 to 60 in 3 seconds, with the max distance of about 7 seconds.
Okay, I'm not saying it just says a fairly impressive range in this article.
They won't tell you because their battery technology's on some bullshit too. They want you to think that they got this advanced shit. It's all garbage. Tesla batteries trash. It's just garbage.
343 miles on a single charge.
Well, I guess it's getting a little bit better, but is that like how much does that cost you? How much electricity does it cost you for that charge? And like how many batteries do you have to have?
212 kilowatts.
If you have to like replace that battery, how many is that? $10,000? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it cost?
Oh, it's more than that. The batteries.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Like, they make it seem like it works out better, but it doesn't, though.
I mean, I think I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Tesla gets kickbacks for every. It might be every company gets money from the government to sell an electric vehicle for less than it actually costs to make the thing.
Oh, because they get subsidized?
Yeah, the batteries are so expensive,
right,
that people can't afford them, so they had to lower the price than it actually cost to make the thing, so they're getting subsidized. That's ridiculous, dude. That's nonsense.
Sounds like a good scam to me.
Yeah, how many companies get that? You know,
how many countries are in on it? I mean, they got these things all around the world. You know what I mean? How many countries are in on it? Is this like a United Nation type of thing or what? You know?
And the craziest part about it is we are burning, I think it's like 90% of this country is gas and fossil fuels dependent to create our electricity. And you actually have to burn more fossil fuels than a gasoline engine would. Just to charge the car, you're actually using more fossil fuels, shipping that electricity.
But isn't electricity free though, anyways?
Yeah, in their minds, yeah, it just comes out of the wall, right? It's just magic.
No, but I mean, how are we collecting it through our through these what you call us? They put on the telephone poles. I can't even think right now. I could think. Sorry.
That's probably how
transformers. They put on the telephone poles that seem to be like little Tesla devices. Are those things collecting the electricity since they can't transfer it through wires?
I don't think those are. I think it's more the tower-based stuff. All these giant, just a tower you see out there, because
I mean that's definitely like a Tesla tech looking version. Yeah, there's a bunch of them right here close to me, so I always look at them and they're like it's hidden in plain sight. It's right there, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean Transformers definitely have they're pretty well understood what they're doing. It's weird though because I've seen. Now it could be just stepping it down. I've been thinking about this as I've been looking into Transformers a little more.
Are they more than meets the eye? Is that what you're trying to say, Zach?
I think there is. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, there was a long power line that goes out to the center of. They call it 10 Mile Road. It's a huge fish and wildlife area in Indiana there, and it's part of the Fish and Wildlife Preserve. And as you're going back through there, there's this electricity wire that cuts it like in half, and then right in the middle of the thing just goes down into the ground. And it's got 3 transformers there at the end. And I used to think, wow, they're powering something really huge down there because they have all those transformers. Then it dawned on me to send it that distance, that electricity, as far as because it's already out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It probably had to get to that point at a very high potential. And then those 3 transformers weren't stepping it up, actually. They were stepping it down.
Down, right.
They say that there's
coming in hot.
Yeah, there's underway water spills that the Army put in down there that are controlled, that they can control through something. And they that's what the electricity is there for, these spillways underneath the ground.
Yeah, but they're also too, like, I don't think that they're transporting it there. I think it's just being made right there on the spot.
Yeah, I think we have that tech. They don't want to admit it though, and they're never going to admit it. They want everybody to believe that we have to burn all this stuff, or that they even are. I mean, I don't see the coal going in and being burned and this and that. I'm sure they're doing it, but is that where all the energy is really being created, or is that just a small portion of it? And the real energy is just being harvested straight from the earth.
I think it's all coming from the earth, in my opinion, you know, like regardless whether it's coming from above, atmospheric, underground, wherever, they're harnessing it multiple ways, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I've
It's
been
not just
looking.
one.
Yeah, I think it's as easy as just having a long enough wire to collect that frequency.
Right.
And you look into some of these buildings, and I think it was in the Sears Tower alone, it was 25,000 miles of plumbing copper pipe,
Copper
but
pipe, yeah.
49,000 miles of telephone wire.
Wow. But I would say that's probably realistic on the telephone because it used to be all hardwired like that everywhere, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, all you need is a copper wire that's 4,600 miles, and you could just hook right into Earth's resonant frequency. So there's
Yeah.
already lines that are run well long enough, further long enough than would need to be to just
Well, I mean,
gather, harness energy right
but
out of the air.
doesn't it also come down to like they're building these buildings and these temples where they used to, like the ancients, well, I don't even say the ancients, like 100 years ago, a couple hundred years ago, they were building
Yeah.
these temples to like be on these like ley line points. I mean, I guess that's kind of like what the consensus is these days, right? But maybe now, like there's still those other ley line energy points that are in cities, and that's why they build the skyscrapers on them now. That's like the new version of it, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just harnessing it because of whatever. I mean, my theory is that that's where all the giant trees used to grow on the ley lines, and when they cut them all down, that's why they built all these star forts and things on top of them to harness the energies. It's still alive in the dead tree, I guess, you know?
Yeah. That movie Troll, I want to go watch it again now because it's interesting.
Where'd you see that
The
at?
the stuff they let go, they slip. What was it? My streaming thing, Putlocker. But you could find it all kinds of. It's out all over the place. But yeah, it's just called Troll. You have to watch them subtitles unless you speak Finnish, which interesting enough. I want to make sure, but the word for what in Finnish is no. So it just makes me, it's another way that they've mixed the languages to like confuse us when we're speaking to each other. If you ask someone a question, a yes or no question, and they say what, and you think they said no, that could cause some issues. One person is just asking for clarification
Well,
while the other person believes that you've just answered in the negative.
the language is already complex as it is. A lot of these languages are just the exact opposite of this other language. It's like they have a wheel. They're like, this language is this backwards, you know?
Yeah. Well, I know, like in German,
To
when they
confuse
talk
people
about
more, you know?
the federal government in German, they're talking about your local city and county type governments. It's not the federal government like here in the U.S., where it's, the national government, the countrywide government. That's our federal government. But over there, federal means something totally different. So even, same words, just other end of the spectrum meaning.
Or a lot of the words that we use in our everyday what we call language are basically just terms of commerce, and they're talking about activities that we're doing that are just commercial, and we don't understand them, right? Like people will be mad if I said you're not an individual or whatever, they'd be all upset about that, but they don't know what the legal definition of individual is. So some of those cultures, they know what those words mean and they don't use those words because we're the only ones tricked by that nonsense, you know?
Yep.
More educated people aren't tricked. I'm not saying that the whole world is not tricked. I feel like probably 90% of the world's asleep or more, you know?
Yeah. At least.
I mean, if they even really exist, is that they're not non-player characters, or are we the non-player characters?
God, wouldn't that be a trip?
I mean, maybe you're not playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just don't know how to play, so you're just not playing. So you're the non-player character, you know? Everyone else on the stage, they might know how to play.
Yeah, like what Donald Trump said when he said the whole system was rigged. That first debate he had with Hillary or whatever. I just saw a video about this. That's why it came to mind. But he said, no, the system's rigged. The system's been rigged for a long time. And Hillary's response was, well, no, it isn't. And everybody's like, bullshit. What he said is true. And then they're like, well, Mr. Trump, you're making these allegations. Do you have any proof that the system's rigged? Like, well, yeah, I used the system. I know how it works. I knew how to play the game. I know it's rigged because I used it.
Well, maybe that's why they want you to crash the system. Maybe the system is good for everybody if you know how to use it. But since you don't know how to use it, what they do is crash it so you can't use it. They get everyone to turn against it, you know?
Yeah.
Part of the psychological warfare.
Well, it looks like one of our friends in chat has been struck by this fucked up system, undoctrinated. There is a PayPal link there. I broke it, but I fixed it. Looks like Capalicious had it up a little earlier in the chat line there. If you can help out, definitely give him a hand. He's currently homeless, and this time of the year, it's not a great time to be out in the cold. So, also, thank you so much for the nice super chat there from FE Nation. Happy ho ho ho, the earth is flat, you know. Yeah, we did. Thank you, friend.
Much love,
hey, guys, instead of giving that money over to Google, that's who's getting most of that anyway, give it over to Ryan. He needs it, man. Thank you, too, though. We appreciate the hell out of it, FE Nation. Thank you. But y'all definitely help him out if y'all can. And over on Rock Band, I dropped the link as well.
Yeah, I haven't been over to Rockfin lately, but I saw we had a few people in there earlier today.
Yeah, it's kicking right now. They have quite a few. I've been chatting up with them. A few different ideas.
Thank you.
Trump knows how to get bankrupt and take money.
Yeah,
from
you know,
everybody.
I don't have the chat in front of me. I have no chats in front of me, so I'm missing all this good content because I know that everyone's very smart in the community, and they all have a lot of good ideas and opinions.
Yeah, I saw another 19th that I think
what's D-Day? Look up D-Day.
What is a song that has that as its fucking lyric, and that's became a hit? Remember that song? Nobody else? 19?
I'm sure.
No, 19. Come on, y'all don't remember that? Oh yeah, that was 80s dance hit. Hang on, I'll find it.
June 19th, 1865, when some 2,000 Union troops.
Wait, so it was the 19th, though, right?
Galveston Bay, Texas. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Otherwise known as Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, right? I mean, I think the patterns are out there. Like once you get the clues on them, you start seeing them. Like once you become aware of things, once someone points something out to you, you can't escape it. It seems, you know.
Paul Hardcastle would be the artist. 19.
Just not familiar.
Yeah, it was about war, and yeah, I'm old. It was an 80s thing. I'm scared to play it because it's like Chrysalis Records official site and all this kind of crap. So I'll drop the link. You guys can enjoy it on your own.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and it wouldn't shock me at all that there are other numbers.
Oh, there is other numbers. We know them. They're 33. I mean, they're out there. I mean, we talk about them. We know them. You just don't ever think about them all at the same time. And maybe like when you look at those articles, you could find those other numbers in that same article or in that same description of the battle, or how many people were involved in it, or all the other details they give with it, to give you the clue of how some people read that.
Now, I'm sure they see certain numbers as being bad.
Well, what number? Like, which number?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I know they have ones that they see as being good, and
there's only 1 through 9. There's only 1 through 9. There's no other. So 1 and 9. There's the beginning and the end.
It's weird how they. I don't know.
I mean, I guess there's a 0 in like binary code or whatever, but there's really no 0. 0 doesn't exist. If it says 303, it really means 33. If it says 109, it really means 19. So a lot of times when people are looking for these codes, they don't realize that 0 doesn't mean anything. It's just completely ignore the zeros,
Yeah.
And sometimes some of these numbers, it's the math. Well, what does that number equal? Is that, if all those numbers together, is that a 9? Is that a 6? Is that a 33? Is that a 19? In vortex math, you can't reduce 11, 22, or 33. So obviously those are all numbers that everyone talks about. Janus, 11, Gateway, you know what I'm saying? 22, 33. I mean, we know these numbers. But those are the ones in vortex math that cannot be reduced. So everything else could be like reduced to a number of 1 through 9,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to look at this code. I mean, there's just not one thing that you just see that number and this is what it means and this is what it means. There's definitely more to it than just that. But it's definitely very precise, and it's definitely based on astrology and all types of other things.
Yeah, and there are schools out there that they have where they're still teaching this, like somewhat secretly, but they're still out there.
Well, I mean, I think there's religions that teach this. I mean, numerology. I mean, we have it. Don't you have it in the Bible too? Numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like in like like say in Judaism, they're into gematria. What is that? I mean, there's something behind it, and obviously all those numbers are very important for specific reasons.
We're gonna see how well this works. Fingers crossed.
Is someone calling me?
Somebody's calling us. We'll see. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, all right. I was like, what the fuck? Someone's calling me?
How's it going, caller? Who might we have on the line?
Andrew.
Hey, what's up, Andrew?
Andrew.
Oh, no.
And everybody's hearing.
Hey, great show tonight, guys.
Sweet.
I would be on camera, but I don't know how. Just calling in. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do it via the flat line. I think that's a audio.
No worries. So I have a really weird thing to talk about right now, and
let's talk about it.
Because I'm through a math course right now, and in the math course, our instructor required us to. There was 10 different topics we could talk about, and we had to mathematically prove one of them. And one of them was prove why we have 365 days in a year. And that's a really weird thing to think about, right? So every single person that actually responded to that particular question all brought up the fact, well, not a fact, the theory that the Earth is rotating around the sun and it does blah, 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 blah. And that's why we have leap year.
Well, the sun disappears for 3 days, right?
The sun?
Yeah, doesn't it disappear in the cycle? The 365 days, isn't that where they get those extra 3 days from or whatever?
Yeah, it quits moving further south, and it doesn't move in the sky as far as its azimuth, its degree from your location. It'll sit there for 3 days.
For 3 days, right?
Yeah. Then on the 25th, it starts.
It's reborn.
Yeah.
It's reborn, and then that's like it's Saturn energy, like what's that? The holidays, right? Christ Mass.
Well, the point I was trying to bring up is the fact that there every single student in the class, and these aren't like stupid people by any means, we're all just bringing up references to NASA for proof of why we have 365 days, and it's fucking stupid. But when you think about it, here's the trippy thing about it. So there's 52 weeks in a year, 7 days in a week. That equals 364 days in a year.
Right.
So where does the extra day come from? And then
Well,
they
they
say,
make the
"Oh, a
leap year, right?
is 356. So what's going on?
I mean, there's other people that say there's really 13 months and it's 28 days each month, and there's only 360 days in a year. But I mean, like, whose system of measurement is this? Like, I mean, is it accurate? It's just the one that we use. It seems it seems like we're stuck with it because there's not a better one that people
And
are
it
presenting.
seems like we're kind of drifting through the seasons right now a little bit. I remember it used to, when I was younger, get colder earlier in the season. It seemed
right. Yeah, for longer. It'd be
we used
colder
to
for
have
like a real winter.
snow in November every year.
Right.
I was younger, and then it was like we don't have snow
I
till
was wearing heavy coats trying to look cool in my Halloween costume, and that wasn't working out, you know. So, and that doesn't happen anymore. That hasn't happened for years now.
Yeah, even California, like we would actually get rain for like a week before. Now, like I mean, as long as I can remember, for past 15, 20 years, it just rains overnight a little bit. It rarely rains for multiple days in a row, you know?
yeah, it's like the cycle is the same, but our time is off a little bit from Mother Nature.
Yeah, but what David, you were talking about was the 13 months with 28 days. So there's a guy named Scott Flansburgh. He is the current world record holder for the world's fastest human calculator. And he actually proposed this to the United States to actually change the calendars from a 12-month to a 13-month calendar.
Right.
Because like the 4th of every single month, for example, would always be on the exact same day. And they rejected it. Now, I don't know why.
Yeah, I think they say it makes more sense that way, right? Like, because like you're saying, it's all everyone would know. Like the 4th is a Tuesday or whatever. Like it wouldn't just be random, like where the first changes all the time. Some months have 28 days, 31, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's just a really weird thing to consider when you actually take a look at the back of a turtle. If you guys have never seen how a turtle,
they have a calendar on their back, right?
Yeah, it's a whole calendar. It's a sky calendar on a turtle. It's really weird. So a turtle has all those different shapes on its shell. So it has an outside ring of different shapes, and then which is 28, and then the inside is 13. I think that's what it is. I might be a little bit off on that, but it basically works out perfectly for a calendar.
I think you're correct about that.
28-day cycle of, and that's basically, when you start to think about it a little bit more, women's menstrual cycles also work on the same pattern.
Well, I think it makes a little more sense with the moons more than anything. But I mean, I follow the moon for all types of other reasons that have nothing to do with the same type of measurements. It's more like when to plant, when to do this, when to pop some seeds, germinate, whatever, you know, all different reasons. But you know, tracking seasons and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in the astrology part of it as well too. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, it's probably getting to be about that time too.
Has more legitimacy than actually astronomy, and I didn't used to think that, but I do now.
Well, I think you would use them both together. I don't think people they don't use them properly. I think that they have some merit, you know. Not saying all of it. There's partial truths in everything.
David, where in California are you located at?
Los Angeles, California.
Oh, okay. I'm in San Jose.
Nice. San Jose is a nice place.
Fuck no, it sucks here.
Well, I mean, I really wouldn't want to offend anybody talking about their people get territorial. all these cities are fucking shitholes. I mean, like, what can I say? You know, not one better than the other. All repurposed.
Who was
repurposed.
it? Axl Rose said it best, I think. The streets don't change except for the names. You know, you're going to find the same type of people just about anywhere you go.
Pretty much.
You know, find your scammers. You're going to find your good faith, loving every being type of people. You're going to find them all on every road. There is no utopia where all the good people go. And there's no bad people allowed. That place doesn't exist.
Hey, Zach, I got a question for you.
Well, does it
so
not
we were
exist
talking-
in this realm, or is it someplace that you could get to?
I don't know that one. That's a good question.
I mean, it could be a state of mind.
What are the 19 stories, Zach, that you were mentioning before? Because I've heard
He's
that
saying the
before, but I've
19
never
biblical
heard-
stories.
Yeah, well, there's only 19, according to Shakespearean literature, there's only 19 different tales you can write.
And they're all biblical stories.
Yeah, there's only 19 stories, like, of how you can structure a story. You can change the names, the places, the events, you know, the actions that were taken, but there's only like this person wronged this person and that person got revenge. That's kind of one of them, you know. There's only 19 different stories that
the husband cheated, the wife
Yeah.
cheated, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah,
It's a
there's-
biblical
yeah.
tale, you know?
You
So-
can change, the names, you can change different things, but there's only 19 different ways that a
Yeah, but I
tale
think-
can be told.
I think even when they do change the names, in numerology, the names end up being like meaning the same thing, or like they have the same connection in gematria or whatever, you know, like something like that anyway. So even like when they do change it, it's still not far off. Like subconsciously, you might be able to.
Yeah, those
relate
stories
to it.
never really change. You know?
I think it was you, Andrew, that was saying it, and you were like, "Oh, I don't really know the Bible," and I was like, "Yeah, you do. It's in every movie you've ever fucking watched. It's everywhere. Like you can't avoid it. They don't want you to say that you didn't know that there's no ignorance of the law. You know."
Yeah, we've heard all the stories numerous times.
Yeah, you just may not know it in the context of whatever, but you know it.
That'd be
You
a
know the
good
lessons.
video for someone to do. I'm sure there is one. I learned that in British literature back in high school. That was one of those things that always stuck with me.
Everything's available now. I was telling somebody about something. I'm like, you've probably never heard of this. No one's talking about this. And I went to YouTube and I searched it in there, and there's like 5 videos. I'm like, okay, a couple people know this, but you're one of the few. You know.
Story.
So I just went to Google, or not Google, Presearch, which is a different type of web address. And I typed in 19 stories, and I kid you not, at least 5 of the 6, 7, 8 on the first page had to do with COVID-19. And all I did was type in 19 stories.
There's another time that they use that number. You know what I'm saying?
It's just so fucking weird, though.
I mean, it didn't even really happen in that time. I guess when they first started talking about it, but didn't that really deploy like in 2020 or some other date? So how come they never like changed the name?
Yeah, I'm finding videos on the most popular story structures, like the hero's journey or Save the Cat.
Right.
They call
Hero's Journey is the most popular one.
I thought there was way less. I thought there was only like 6 or 7 stories that we repeat. I think there's like 19 stories in the
No, it's a
Bible
number like
or
that.
something like that. Let me see what I can.
Yeah, see what you could whip up real quick.
Well, there's only like 8 different things you can manipulate in story structure.
Right.
But you can manipulate
7
them
basic
around.
plots is apparently a book. Never mind. Damn, I got excited for a second.
Yeah, I'm seeing 7-point story structure.
Oh no, this is it. So it's the plots: overcoming the monster, rags to riches, The Quest, Voyage and Return, Comedy, Tragedy, and Rebirth. And then there's, the rule
How many
of
is that?
three. I'm sorry.
How
The
many is that?
seven. That's what they say.
Oh, seven. Okay.
7 basic plots.
I mean, 7 is another number they use too,
And there
right?
is another magic number. Yes.
Yeah,
Sir.
and basically when it comes down to like what number is available, what number is left, you know what I mean? Like, they're all used. So I mean, is just numerology in general bad or is it good? I mean, obviously people use it to calculate all kinds of things. I mean, I don't know if it's useful, but people spend their
Walt,
lives
can you drop a link for
dedicated
that?
to it.
I can't find it.
I did see 19 stories in the Bible pop up though when I was typing that in, but I don't understand that either.
Well,
because there's way more Bible stories than 19.
Well, there's way more. There's way more books. They've just all been kind of separated and rewritten and whatever. So they're all telling the same story, essentially, just in different different ways, different cultures. I think is why as well too, to get the people to relate.
Yeah, I'm seeing one here, autocrit.com. I don't know what that is. There's only 7 basic narrative plots, different settings. What are the 37 plots? I'm seeing it. Is there only 36 plots?
I
Some
don't
say
know.
6 or 7. Another influential
30,
list includes 36.
36 is 9,
I'm not seeing any 19. I know it was 19 is what I was taught, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that was one of those
you're
things.
probably right, but it could be, it could be other results. I mean, the internet doesn't have all the answers always, I feel like a lot of times, like when I'm researching stuff on the internet, I just come to like this point where it's like there's 10 websites basically saying the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Like these are just like bot created websites. They're not even real.
Yeah, and a lot of these are a lot newer articles. I mean, I was taught this over 20 years ago, like 25 years ago.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that stuff never got it never really made to the internet. No one had the internet then, or if they did, they weren't like adding this content to it. And if they were, it's gone now. They stopped paying for their web server or who knows what.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's in a database somewhere, but since they want to record and track everything and keep crazy logs of everything,
Yeah, a lot of these are just blogs, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, are those blogs even real? Like, I've gone down that research rabbit hole where it's like this guy posted like 5 times and he posted the same exact fucking articles as other blogs. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even really post this. It's like almost like he reposted it. Like how they do on Instagram these days. Similar thing. There's not really that many authors or anyone to contact ever. I'm always like, who's hosting this? Like, why does this still exist?
So when I put Shakespeare at the end,
yeah,
how many story plots exist? Shakespeare, 1,462 popped up.
1,462.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah, when did Columbus? When did you say Columbus?
That wasn't it. I was being stupid.
No, but I'm saying, what is that? Actually, it's 1492, right?
Yeah. This one was 1,462 different plots.
Well, he had like into the narrative. He had 3 different explorations or whatever they want to call them. Or if he's even a real character at all, if he even really exists. If he's not just
Pinta and the Santa Clarita or something like that.
Right.
See,
I mean,
now that
that's
I see
the narrative.
When they say 7, there's only 7. It's not really story structure. Like,
no, yeah, I think
really basic. It's 1 is overcoming the monster. 2 is rags to riches. 3 is quest. 4 is voyage and return. 5 is comedy. 6 is tragedy. And 7 is rebirth. So yeah, you could throw everything under those categories. Oh, keep going. Keep going. Dude. There you go.
Literally 3 times.
Wow.
You know how many times I've used that phrase?
This is
At work?
fucking fired. I know. I used to say that all the time. Step into my office. What? You're fucking fired. Yeah. Okay, according to this 1919 manual, there are 37 possible stories. So yeah, over time, it seems to change.
I think it's the same narrative being introduced to all the different areas of the world, and it just gets sometimes it gets changed a little bit, mistranslations or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we keep finding the same story in all these cultures, and I heard that in Mexico they had their own Israelites, you know, their own lost tribes.
Neverland had their own lost tribes too.
Well, I'm not saying it's not true. I mean, like, obviously, America's the old world, you know.
Where do you think Neverland is?
Second star to the right, straight on until morning. Duh.
And where would that take you?
Where indeed?
I would think to the North Pole.
Or it'd be the South Pole, wouldn't it? Because you really couldn't go north. You're basically going south, wouldn't you?
Well, it's the second star from the right of the North Pole, and as that star is going, it's going to go clockwise.
That never specifies the North Pole.
Or counterclockwise.
It's just the second star to the right.
Second star to the right.
And then straight on until morning.
So I guess it depends on which way.
Yeah, but where do you end up at? Do you end up in Antarctica? Or do you end up in the North Pole, is what I'm saying. I think you end up in Antarctica.
In the North Pole, because that's a land of eternal life. And
I think
all the ancient texts.
There's no way that it could be either. If Wendy and her brothers were flying there with happy thoughts in their nightgowns, then surely it's not that freaking cold. And to get somewhere in the north or the south, you got to bypass some coldness.
Did you see somebody publish some photos from Antarctica?
I didn't, and you can't prove that I did. I'm sorry.
No, but they like recently, I saw them today or whatever, and they're like some ship, some voyage took them in like 1912, and they're just showing all these like, this was a structure, this was a castle, this was a whatever, this was a pyramid.
Yeah, I did see that.
I don't know where I saw that today, but I did come across that. The YouTube feed sucked me in.
So I was watching one about Captain Cook's voyages and some pictures that Captain Cook had taken and were brought back and found with his dead, lifeless body. And this was the comment I was making last week, that it just really struck me as odd because Captain Cook died in a blizzard, right? In Antarctica.
Antarctica, yeah.
Which strikes me as odd.
Well, I think it's the code again. CC.
Well, imagine the world's most intrepid explorer dying from a massive flood while in the Sahara Desert.
Sounds pretty realistic to me.
Right? Well, Antarctica is a larger desert that gets less precipitation than the Sahara Desert. And yet Captain Cook died in a motherfucking blizzard. Where's all this precipitation coming from? Why is it in Antarctica when Antarctica is the world's largest desert, receiving the least amount of precipitation anywhere? Just thought it was something strange. Maybe
That is
I'm missing
very
it
odd.
too. Maybe they flew out of Antarctica and were somewhere in the
Oh, I know who was talking
Atlantic
about
or
that.
something.
It was John Levi, whatever. He was talking about that, about some other channel posted that those Antarctic like some ship captain or something like that. He took photos in like 19 something or whatever. Pretty interesting.
You know what's weird about Antarctica that I've never been able to figure out?
It's like a major
Why
control
the
point.
fuck are there penguins there? And how did they get there?
Well,
The
they
only
swim.
species that live in Antarctica.
Well,
Besides,
if Florida was the Garden of Eden and all animals originated here, I mean, how did they get there? I mean, I don't know, you know?
And why don't polar bears go there? I do believe that's
the
what
last defense.
Arctic means, is like with bears, I think, or something having to do with bears, whereas Antarctic
Right.
means without bears,
Right.
because they don't have any polar bears.
Yeah,
well,
they don't have
regardless
them.
of the
It
evolution
was-
versus creation theory, there's still a species that lives there, and there has to be an explanation for it. And so far, I haven't.
I think
heard
there's all
any-
types of species that still live there because that it hasn't been contaminated. Like, you can't bring food there. You can't bring any of the crap from here there. They don't want any of that plastic shit there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you kind of have to, don't you? How do you go spend 3 weeks in Antarctica but not take any food?
Well, I mean, maybe they don't eat. Maybe they eat less than you do. I mean, there's all types of other explanations, and maybe they eat something that is packed with more protein, less food, that they can survive on in cold weather. Like, I'm sure that there's some tech behind some artificial food they can probably make to sustain, what do they call sustaining life, whatever, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just dehydrated food wrapped up in normal packaging that they just have to keep track of.
Yeah, and what's crazy is once they dehydrate it takes away all that structured water, and that's really what the body needs to dehydrate it. It's like it defeats the whole purpose, you know? I was eating dehydrated
Josh,
fruit either, though.
You were right about the bear, but they weren't talking about polar bears.
Which bears were they talking about that are in the Arctic but not in Antarctica?
It's north of the Great Bear, Ursa Major, in the sky.
Ah, look at that. Interesting.
From Latin Arcticus, from ancient Greek Arctikos, northern of the Great Bear.
Was there really ancient Greek? Does that even exist?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
So-
I just feel like
Where is the Great Bear in relation to Orion? With Orion's belt then being that equatorial divide, where does the Great Bear reside?
Is the Big Dipper. It's in the north. We can always
see it.
We're always seeing it at night.
It's making a swastika.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the swastika symbol comes from.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Seasons.
The 4 seasons from the north.
Hmm.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Hidden in plain sight.
Do people eat penguins?
I don't know.
That's a really weird question. But
I'm sure somebody has.
Well, I'm just thinking about it. Like, if you're down there and you have to survive,
that's all there
you see a
really
penguin,
is. Yeah.
Ooh, sorry.
Well, I mean, no, I don't know. We don't know that. We don't know that. That's all we've seen. We have no idea what all there is, because there's definitely other photos from there that are like beautiful lakes and cabins by the lake that could be located anywhere and could be bullshit. But my point is none of us truly know. Is that whole place frozen? We don't know. Maybe a part of it is.
It could be pterodactyls and woolly mammoths for all we know.
Well, they're saying it's bigger than like America. Like, so if it's bigger than America, like maybe different regions have different temperatures, you know?
Part of the Antarctic Treaty is the whole you can't eat the penguins thing.
Oh, right. Well, they're emperor birds, right? That's what they call them?
Right.
Yeah, if people haven't seen Ben from Taboo Conspiracy, he actually has a PhD in law. He's a lawyer. He did a really great video about...
I mean, I have Black's Dictionary 1611 version. I got a quadruple PhD.
Oh, awesome. But his video, I was just trying to mention real quick here, is he goes through the entire like State Department stuff and explains it legally how. And the video is called "Sorry, Antarctica is Closed." If people haven't seen
that
that,
is a good one.
you've got to watch that.
No, I have seen it.
That's one of the things that like made him kind of popular because of how well he did that one video.
No, that is a good video. That is a good recommendation as well too. I mean, it's closed for a reason though. Closed for what? Closed for business?
Yeah, more natural resources than we could use, but nobody's allowed to go there. We'll burn down the Amazon instead.
Well, I mean, there's less oxygen, right? Keep them dumbed down. No, I think people get oxygen from algae from the ocean anyways, regardless. But it definitely has an effect on the environment and the people there, though, for sure. And I think that's part of the amnesia is like cut down all the trees. Our connection to consciousness is water. So, like, what do you think the tree holds a bunch of? And what do you think makes some of these climates, or what originally made some of these climates was the trees? And, you know, nowadays they're all gone and missing. Now they make it artificially. I wonder if it's because they have to.
Man, I cannot find that video. Taboo's video.
I know it's on the app for sure, but
yeah,
if you're trying to find it online, I couldn't tell you where to find it.
Oh, I found one that is oh, this is the debunk. Oh, I love that when they do that.
The debunk. Does anyone want to come on live with us before we get off and debunk us? A quick debunk.
It's real easy when they do. You just ask them a few basic, simple questions about the globe model. Watch them flounder. Talk about, I can't Google it right now. And that's pretty much the end of the conversation for me. Like, you're defending something you have no idea what you're talking about. That's when, I mean, I'm all willing to have open and honest conversations with open and honest people that have real questions and aren't there to troll.
I'm just hoping all those people heal from their traumas and the traumas that have been inflicted upon them. And
it's got to be such a horrible life, man.
You know, I'm at the point where I'm rooting for them more than anything because I can't think negative towards them anymore. I can't anything. You know what I mean? I can only think good stuff for everybody. You know, especially people that are deep under the spell.
And it's funny because all you do is show them some love, and they don't know what to do. If you sit there and argue with them and fight them, and get as nasty as them, then they've won. They're like the emperor saying, "Yes, let the hatred."
Those are NPCs.
Well, are we the NPCs? We don't know. We're not sure. I mean, it could go both ways, honestly.
But yeah, it's wild how much they like thrive and drive.
Well, I mean, wait, if those people are NPCs, are they like human bots? So they basically like 80% of human race is just bots, so the numbers don't count anyways. That's what I always want to understand when people say NPCs. Like, what does that really truly mean? And like what level and like what percentage and like how many people are like just
All
here
right,
they're just
let me
this,
give a test out to everybody real quick here. I want you guys to try and figure out who made this quote. It's gonna fucking boggle you for a moment. So here's the quote: "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart." Who made that quote?
Ooh, I like it. Whoever did.
This is gonna fuck your mind up a little bit. Helen Keller, who was a deaf mute who couldn't speak.
So they say.
That. Right. And who also had a British accent, even though she was born in Alabama. And she flew a plane and wrote
this
a book.
was made in Alabama.
Okay, so there's an inspirational quote that people hear. Oh, Helen Keller, that was such an inspirational woman throughout history. Right? Okay, but she's a fraud. the whole fucking thing is bullshit. I mean, there's a
Well,
lot
I
of
think
videos.
all
about
of it is, isn't it? I think everyone wants to.
I don't feel
they
bad
want
for
to
telling all those.
They want to romanticize their favorite character or their favorite actors or their whatever, and they want to be like, "Well, he's not in on it. Tom Cruise would never do that. He's not a
She was the
woman.
Stephen
He's not a
Hawking of her
granny."
time. You know, she was the Stephen Hawking of her time.
Right.
She probably
Right.
never
I don't
even
feel
survived
bad
the
for all those.
Holocaust in the attic.
With a ballpoint pen that hasn't been invented yet.
But the
Oh,
point
my
I was
goodness.
trying to get at is that people will hear these quotes about Helen Keller and these stories, and they'll just believe it because they are essentially
Well,
an NPC. They are.
well, think of
if
how many
you
people that
believe
found
this kind of
inspiration from
bullshit-
that, and then we just insulted all those people. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah, I
levels
mean,
to this.
you can be inspired by stories. You know, it doesn't make it real.
Well, I agree, but you know, I mean, at the end of the day, like,
And I'm okay with
Do
them
I-
being insulted. It's all right. I mean, for real. Get over it or don't. Either way, I don't
Hey,
really
I
fucking
was
care.
one of the kids telling all the Helen Keller jokes in school. I admit it. I was one of those people.
I vaguely remember like one of them, maybe. I don't
Walmart
even know
and
if I remember it.
homework
I think it
with
has
golf
nothing to do with-
shoes, rearranging the furniture. I mean, there's all sorts of good
No.
ones.
No, I
Leaving
think it
the
has something to
plunger in
do
the
with like
toilet.
urine, actually.
Why didn't her dog ever come when she called it?
Yeah, like those kind of jokes are the ones I probably heard.
How did she burn her hand? She tried to read the toaster.
Hey, what's
But
the
I
name
say,
of
like,
that
who,
song?
and also, like, who
done-
made all that up? Like, how vicious everybody is. You know what I mean? Like,
These
was
were
that
all
kid?
told
Was
to
that
me.
kids? Or was that
I don't
adults
know.
programming the kids? Did that come from
Yeah,
like
I
from
think I
like
heard them from my uncles.
comedians? Oh,
actually.
your uncles? Yeah, but where
Yeah.
did they hear him? Because generally, like, they
Nemo
heard it from
nailed
like
it.
a comedian.
Nemo nailed it. Don't worry. None of the people you just insulted will ever hear this.
Right. They're not tuning into this one.
Especially with Helen Keller.
Yeah, that's what you should call the name of the show. Helen Keller.
I don't feel bad anymore. I used to feel bad for making those
No,
jokes. No, I don't.
I don't either. But I was also about the point too. Like, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything anymore. I'm just along for the ride. I'm just here to observe, and I'm just here to interact and like drop hints and clues that I feel that are essential to the thing. I have a different perspective on things than most people do. I'm not trying to think about like all the. I'm not trying to regurgitate what everyone else is saying. Sometimes it happens automatically. You can't avoid it because the same topics are out there, you know, and some people have the same ideas, you know. We're all getting them from the God mind, right? The sacred geometry. We're tuning into it like antennas and
Absolutely. Can't get
receivers.
away from it either. Hey, so I've been thinking about doing something recently, but it requires people across our Great Plain to basically work in sync at the same time to try and do
Oh,
it.
that'll never happen then. Sorry.
Yeah, you just blew it right there, buddy. You shot your own project.
Well, no,
down.
not everybody. I'm just saying like a group of people. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
That's not gonna matter much.
Try to get someone here for a
Come
Friday
on.
night for the show.
so here's my idea, and I just want to see how this works because I've never seen a single video of anyone ever doing this. For like me, I'm in California and west coast of the United States, and then let's have someone else in Australia and someone on the east coast of the United States, and then someone in England, for example. Basically all sync up at the same time with their cameras. And I know that the daytime and nighttime is going to be different in those different areas, but to actually just record the sky at the exact same time and then sort of sync it together and see how it actually works. Like as far as the stars and how the parallax works from different locations. And I think there's a lot of really great flat earth research, but I think we need to go back and recreate some of the old tests that were done and actually prove it, because you can't just say, oh yeah, Michelson Worley, they did that. Well, let's do it again. Bedford Level, do it again, and just show it instead of just having these historical type of stories that are told. We can just do it ourselves and be like, yeah, see.
I mean, I just like me personally. I just find that I'd rather focus my energy in other places. I mean, I just like to like move forward. I don't want to get stuck in the same pattern. I want to like, how do we evolve from that? We've came to these conclusions. So now what?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
all a
think it
tale
might
that's
just be.
being played out, and I think
I
even
mean, how much of it is scripted in our astrology?
exactly, it is. I really am leaning towards a lot of it is written in the stars already,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna go with the flow. And
I mean, I feel like if everyone does the inner work, is the only way we could change the outer reality. And
man in the mirror,
yeah,
Michael Jackson wrote it best. That's where
simple
we
as that.
start.
Yeah, they told you all this stuff. It's not hidden from us. It's it's hidden in plain sight. They had to tell you all this stuff. They let you know.
Am I, aside from like being the only one that thinks that stars are actually like dead souls? That's where we go. That's what we become. I mean,
I think there's a lot of
a lot.
like religions and stuff say similar things to that, don't they?
Yeah, I know. I've heard that before.
Your star children, you return to the stars, and you wait Judgment Day or whatever.
There's a lot more stars up there than just the ones we see.
That was one of the.
I think that vibrational cymatic point is how we coalesce into this 3D reality from spirit. That's more my connection to the star. That's why they'll sell. That's why they'll sell somebody a star and name it to another name, because that's your fucking star.
Right.
Now Joe Blow bought it, so now it's called Tony's House or whatever the fuck.
Right. Joe's Pizza.
I like titties.
Do they have any
such
names
a
like
good
that?
business idea.
We should actually get a GoFundMe together to name a few stars. Because that would be productive.
NASA's a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, I'm saying they should literally just put names like that in there. Why not?
Yeah, I think I heard that the people in Scotland trying to sell fractions of an acres of land for lordships or some shit has finally gone by the wayside and had the hammer come down.
The lowered, huh?
That's not really the way that works, apparently. But for dumbasses that want to spend 15, 20, 25, 50, who knows how much they're charging.
You know who the real dumbasses are? The people that buy real estate on the moon. Did you know you can do that?
I mean,
I'm sure it's absolutely possible.
No, there's a way you can actually spend money and do it.
No, I'm sure of it. I don't doubt it whatsoever at all. They'll take your etheric energy any way they can. People are giving it away.
All right, yeah, I think we're going to have to wrap this up. It is getting to be about that time. And it's been a while since I've done 2 shows on a Friday. Feels like it's been a hot minute.
I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, how did you guys get this crazy schedule? Like, where you do the 2 shows like at 4 a.m. or whatever time it is. For me, it's like 2 a.m. or whatever. It's got to be like 4 a.m. for you. And then you come home and then you do this show on the same day. Like, how did that happen?
Well, we started with this show.
This was
this is the original. Have no spear. Okay.
Yep. Or the Flat Earth Friday Fringe Cast.
And then you started doing something with TFR.
Yeah. Then we got asked to do TFR. But it was one of those things that I felt compelled to be able to make a commitment to do it. I didn't want to always have to have some lame ass excuse of why I couldn't happen to be there and miss it or have to run reruns or something. So I wanted to try to make sure I planned it at a time when I could actually commit to it and fulfill that commitment. And the only way I could do it was when I was sleeping. So I just sleep less now.
Well, fun fact, I was definitely thinking about that earlier, and I was just like, Josh is a maniac. Then he he works a job after all this talk. Like, how does his day unfold after like having one of these conversations? I always thought like
Fridays are the days I cannot nerdle. I get so silly here if I try to nerdle on a long day like on the Fridays. But and really, this is such a project of love that's what really drives me, is all these badass people. And when I see somebody telling Ryan, you know, that, hey, don't you worry, we got you, we're your family, and seeing that FEMILY just, you know, makes my heart grow 4 times larger and makes me feel good. So it's one of those things that really keeps me doing it, because yeah, we've been on this schedule for 7 years, some shit, 6 years, maybe not quite 6 years on this schedule. We've been at TFR for what, 5, something like that. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, you know, the awesome thing about Flat Earth, ever since I found it and actually started talking to people online about it and being vocal about it, is it's like a form of therapy for me. And I'm not even kidding at all.
No.
It's way better than going and talking to a shrink or something, because they don't fucking understand. Because I actually did have to go talk to a fucking shrink for like one time because I was freaking out about my fucking job. And I mentioned Flat Earth and I was basically just ostracized immediately. Like, I probably shouldn't have done that, but
yeah, that's not the type of place to say those 2 words together.
But that is interesting, where this Friday
Pick and
show,
choose your battles, my friend. Pick and choose your battles.
that's sort of where Have No Fear was born as well, was just for it to have that sort of safe space where we can come and hang out and say the weird shit that we've heard on the internet, or weird hypotheses that passed through our brain cells today that just wanted to externalize it and see how crazy it sounded. And then other people who couldn't talk about the idea that maybe the earth isn't a ball with anybody in their house or anybody at their work, but they've still gone through all the frantic late night research, doing it with no sleep, and just, you know, finally gets it. But now there's nowhere to go with it. And there's nothing quite as freeing as being able to surround yourself with other people that like you, that get it and that want to hear your story and are interested in the way that you found it and how it's affected your life. And with this whole channel, Iron Rail Media as a whole was really designed to be that kind of therapeutic spot. And I know for me specifically, it is not just providing it, but it is also for me a place to be able to come and use it as therapy for me too.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's like
you get out of it what you put into it.
When I watch something
you
like
reap what you sow,
a Flat Earth Festival that Karen puts on, it looks very similar to like what happened at Woodstock or at, you know, different types of these reggae on the river and these different types of festivals that go on where there's just nothing but love, respect, peace, and you know, open-minded people willing to talk about anything and debate about anything, but still have no resentment towards each other.
And it sucks because it's not necessarily universal to Flat Earth. I mean, there's still a lot of assholes out there with whom I don't want to associate. But they've still got all that same potential. So it's not as though I'd write everybody off regardless. We all have the potential for perfection. Humans are not perfect, but we've got the potential for perfection.
Yeah, somebody was talking about this earlier, and they were just saying, I don't know if it was you guys earlier in the show in the morning, you were talking about perfection or whatever. Does this sound familiar?
I think so. Or potential, yeah.
Or potential, yeah. Everyone has that potential. It's just how much you want to work for it. What are you willing to do?
Potential to change. Yeah.
And like I said, every single day you could reinvent yourself. You wake up into a whole new scenario, you know?
I look back at who I was, 15 years ago, and I would have looked down upon myself. I know what I've become. So to me, it was just all a lesson, and that's just, but yeah, I don't judge people because I've been in a lot of these places, these dark places, and I came out of that place. And life is beautiful, and I love it, and I see it in a totally new way now. And it took a while for that to happen. But for me to, say that someone else doesn't deserve that chance to make that change, I don't have that right to say that they don't deserve a chance to, be their fullest potential self.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. That's not
I
my
mean,
place.
we're all here to learn. You're not the teacher. No one here is the teacher.
Exactly. Some people take the scenic route. It just takes a lot longer. Some
I
people never get there.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but 17 Joy's in the chat, and I'm telling her that I want to get her on so we could talk about some frequency stuff and other things that me and her have researched in the past and discussed and went into great detail with some of you guys as well. Since we never made that happen, I think that's something that we should do in the closest soon as we possibly can in the next, maybe in the new, what they call the new year on the calendar system we use.
Oh yeah, the middle of winter, you mean?
Yeah, the New Year's is Aries. Well, Janet's is 11, right? So January would be 11, wouldn't it?
Wow. Yeah, I never even thought about that.
I'm just saying, I think it's pretty obvious, but some other people would argue and say that that the year starts in Capricorn. I don't know. I think I would say Aries, but then there's also the people that are the April Fools, right? The April Fools had it wrong. They thought it was the new year, and they made fun of them to ridicule them or whatever, right?
Yeah, the Hebrews. It was pretty much the Hebrews who did that, and it was never on any certain day. It was always, after the winter harvest, whenever the wheat was ready, then that next full moon or new moon was the beginning of your year.
Right.
And they went by nature because they knew nature is cyclical and it can't be counted on a chart. It changed. So they, sometimes they'd have 13 months in a year, sometimes they'd have 12. It fluctuated with nature. And that's, I think, is genius to go at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say one other thing too, like Rico the tinfoil sombrero. I've heard him on your show a lot of times. I've actually seen him recently in another community putting comments in there. I'm like, oh shit, I know that guy. Do I say I know you from wherever?
Hey, I know you.
Hey, I know you, but I'm not going to tell you from where. But it starts with the iron. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
No, I saw him in like a skateboard community on YouTube or whatever. Like, and he was posting comments on the thing, and I was like, holy shit, I know that guy.
Flat earthers are everywhere, man.
Hey, speaking on the Zodiac,
that's what makes me disbelieve in the so-called population. It's like, how could the internet be that small? How could YouTube be that small that I'm running across the same people over and over and over again, the same communities, the same whatever, over multiple topics? It's not like we're all looking at the same shit,
Yeah, it's not even all conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, you were looking at
Yeah, I look at all types of other stuff. I look at all types of other stuff. I look at how to build shit. I look at like all types. I'm very interested in a lot of things. So, I mean, it's not all conspiracy or anything else. There's just a lot of stuff I'm interested in that I try to make time for, or that measurement that they call time.
Mm-hmm. All right, gents, that was an awesome chat.
Like a flat earth electrical type of thing. Anytime anybody ever wants, if you just want free electrical advice on how to wire something up or how to do certain things, or just go into like deep theory with like Bob or something, I'd be fucking stellar about that because I know quite a bit about it. So if anybody's ever interested about that, want free electrical advice, just let me know.
There you go, folks.
Nice. There you go. Rewire your own. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really email or anything, but maybe you guys can be in contact with 17 Joy over here.
Absolutely.
And we could schedule something. I mean, I think that you guys still know the contact information.
I'm sure we still have it.
I have email. I just don't want to log in. I don't want to like try to like want to send me a text message to a number that doesn't exist.
Media at Gmail.
Just get Telegram and hop into the Iron Realm Media. channel.
There is that.
Then just give up
Don't
your
they?
phone number.
Don't they want my phone number though?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But you can
okay.
also get a phone number through Gmail. Google
Yeah, but
gives
it's still
out free numbers.
It's still. Yeah, they track a lot of data.
Yeah,
I don't put any of that stuff on my phone. I mean, like I hate to say it. I used to be like all cool with all that stuff. Nowadays, I'm no way.
Your phone is a tracking device. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, I know, but well, I'm not even gonna say, but I'm very aware. But I'm pretty sure that's all disabled. Matter of fact, like I can't even post comments in YouTube without the YouTube server thinking that something funny's going on, so they just retract all my comments.
Use a VPN.
VPN is not that private.
Okay.
You might as well give them everything. No VPN.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Always a pleasure. Always a great session.
All right, guys. Thank you.
And you can't beat the price. Discounted therapy, Iron Realm Media style.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't bore you guys too much.
Thank y'all, truly. Thank y'all for all the donations.
No, I'm just joking.
Thanks for
though.
all the help heading Ryan's way. Appreciate the hell out of that. I know
it sucked not being in the chat. I feel like there's so much in the chat that I missed. Walt's been absorbing it this whole show.
That's where I was at. Trying to pay attention to Rock Band, Amos. I did my best.
Yeah, I
said goodbye, Liz.
Tip of the hat from Amos as he leaves Rockfin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you guys. It's so strange. It really does feel like it's been so long since we did one of these shows on a Friday night. And it really hasn't even been that long. Maybe it's just been that long since we had somebody on. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why it seems. I don't know, but I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you back here probably next week, where at least a tentative plan is to have Thunder Chicken come on for his he's got some things he wanted to present, actually, as far as horticulture and growing and plants and gardening and things are concerned. And always a good passion.
He's going to come on the next week, you're saying, the following week?
That's tentatively. I mean, this time.
Is that Christmas? The massive.
Could be.
The chrism?
I don't know.
Oh, that's Sunday, I think.
Either way.
The eve is Saturday. No, I'm just trying to see I'm going to be in Mexico probably
Next
tomorrow.
Friday is the 23rd. The Friday after that
I'll be in
the
Mexico.
30th. So technically, neither one of those will be a holiday night or evening or whatever.
But I'm pretty sure I'll be off work both of those.
We'll not take it off. Who knows what'll happen between now and then?
I'm pretty sure I'll be off next Friday. Then the 23rd, I'm off. Maybe just a half day. Maybe it's a full day. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it's a full day. So that's the thing.
Shout out to Liz, the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, what a trooper. Thanks for staying up.
Every time I've ever came in a room, Liz is always the first person to say hi to me. Every single time. Liz is always there for every... Liz is the best.
Yes, we do love our Iron Maiden.
Love y'all. Thank y'all, truly.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week. And till then, be good. Be well. Bye-bye.